I'm here, and it's just me. Welcome to the Sunday Show After Dark with Forrest and only Forrest. I'm your host, Forrest, and I am joined today by Forrest. It's the Forrest Show with Forrest and only Forrest. It's Forrest. Hi. Hope you're excited for today's show, because we got an amazing show for you tonight, and by we, I mean me, because it's only me today. It was going to be Paul, and then Paul died. He just exploded out of nowhere, just gone. So now it's just me, entirely just me, and we've got a phone number for you. Should be popping up on the bottom of the screen there. That number is 720-619-2288. Ignore that part of the screen there. That's just a name that we use as a filler to fill in, just because we usually only have two names on the screen anyway. It was a whole thing to remake the lower third graphic. We just, exactly, thank you. So it's just me tonight. But we're taking your calls. Calls from theists, callers from believers. If you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Hindu, if you're a Jew, and you want to talk to us about the gods that you believe in, if you want to convince us that these gods are real, if you believe that the Bible is the good book and a good way to lead your life, if you believe that life without some divine inspiration and some eternal creator is meaningless or hopeful or hopeless or unexplainable, if you are a MAGA Republican who believes that Trump is doing a good job, if you're a cryptozoologist who believes in ancient aliens and monstrous creatures, if you're a transphobe or a homophobe and you think that sex and gender are the same thing and they're clearly just a binary system that are totally synonymous, and if you believe that the earth is flat or that vaccines cause cancer, or if you don't believe in evolution and you think the earth is 6,000 to 10,000 years old and that all of this life just crapped itself into existence by the will of some fucking space wizard, this is the show for you. This, as antagonistic as I am being, we tend to be kind of nice, and we're here to talk to you about your beliefs. Here on this show, we don't believe in any gods. We do believe in science, including modern science, which I know upsets a lot of Republicans. And we want to talk to the people who disagree with us and hear your takes and see if they hold up. God damn it.
What did I do?
I've been sitting here the whole time saying it was the me and only me show, and then I was gonna make a big fuss about it when you came in.
You and nobody.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Forrest and only Forrest.
I feel like
we want to take your calls. We want to take your calls, and we want to talk to you and see if your ideas hold up. See if they hold water. See if they stand up to reason. See if you can define the terms that you are talking about, and if you can convince us to believe as you believe, whatever it is you believe. So pick up that phone, 720-619-2288. Thank you to the person in the chat saying, Forrest, please let nobody speak. That is the plan.
Including me.
Yeah. Well, you were marked as nobody. It's an Odyssey joke. It's a
I see. Does he mean let nobody speak or let nobody be? That's so clever.
Yeah. It's really good. Pick up that phone, 720-619-2288, or if you're outside of the U.S., you can use the web link down in the description and call us that way. We are ready to talk to you, and we already have 3 people calling in right now, going through the screening room, so we'll talk to you guys soonly. Jimothy Bimothy, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I want you to, so I was telling the people on the last show about how there's a thing I'm working on that I think is going to be, and I was like, I cannot sell this enough. I think it's fucking awesome. Obviously, don't tell them what it is. I haven't told them yet. Yeah. Forrest is one of 2 people I've shown. Should they be hyped?
I think the OnlyFans is going to go really well. Honestly, I think that at the end of the day, it's going to go great. We're going to raise a lot of money.
That's obviously not true. I still look like this. Oh man. Anybody want to get forehead fucked? Have I ever talked to you about this?
I'm currently, my hair is like weird today and I'm fucking with it. And at the end of the day, nothing's going to hide that. You know what I mean?
But dude,
Nothing's
it's not even
that.
length of, look how much mine slopes back. I am a beach ball head.
Look at that.
Nah, yours, you've got like some flatness to yours.
It's flat up here where my brain should be, and it just goes like it's.
No, you've got like boop and then a curve and then a boop.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe Frankenstein. I would rather have the Frankenstein head than. I'm just kidding. You don't have a Frankenstein head.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody, by the way, last show, I said I'm gonna make this point even if it kills you, and someone went, "Ooh, I love that Forrest line." And I had to break it to them that was another stolen line of yours. That one wasn't stolen from me. That one was, I think, Matt probably, right?
No, Christopher Hitchens.
Oh,
he was on a panel being interrupted over and over, and that was what he said. I'm going to finish this sentence if it kills you.
And I know I've heard Matt say it too. It's a whole line of. I will say I don't think I ever heard somebody say "eat my ass, it's ass flavored." Because I think I once heard somebody said
before I said it.
I think I heard somebody say, "Eat my ass with barbecue sauce, and then it'll be barbecue flavored" or something like that. It was like too wordy, and I was like, "That's too wordy." And then one day it just popped out, "Eat my ass, it's ass flavored," and that was a legend was born. Yeah. That's my own Hitchens quote. They're gonna make a you know how there's a Hitchens quote generator, like you can just read a random Hitchens quote. That's coming from me one day, and it will include things like "eat my ass, it's ass flavored," or like from the last show, I already know I'm an F slur, except I didn't say F slur. You know what I'm saying? But we'll wait until later in the show before I start dropping self Fs.
I was gonna say Jimmy does love dropping slurs. Also. Well, so Luxander, our producer, who just put in the saying next time on the line does phrenology. That's in the producer chat. We're not fucking. We already covered phrenology when that fucking loser Eric called in the other day. By the way, go watch that call. I can't stress enough. If you haven't seen the last Skeptalk with Erica and I, when the right-wing paleoanthropologist who is more of an expert in paleoanthropology than anybody in the whole world, as he says in his own comment sections, who's been blowing up our channels to talk about how he's going to make us cry in our diapers because we're whiny liberals who can't handle science, triggered himself and screamed himself into non-existence because we asked him his own position.
Yeah.
And then admitted to being a phrenologist and also saying that humans... that Africans weren't actual Homo sapiens yet. Fucking absolute dingleberry of a person. I hope that guy calls back next time Erica and I host. It's so
rule
good.
That I think you'll actually like. You usually hate the rules. Gohan has a new rule. We'll take another Gohan call if he gives pronouns. But at this point, he has had hours of access to our audience, but won't show us the respect of we like people to offer pronouns. And at this point, by the 50th call and the 1000th hour of his voice on our channel, if you want us to extend to you the courtesy of continuing to take your calls, all you have to do is give your pronouns. And I've now done two calls where I've been like, okay, cool. And I always ask it this way. We have a live audience of this size. Do you want to be called he, she, they, or something else? And he goes, I will not be answering. And I was like, then we're not going to be having the call. And he goes, okay, all right, bye. And,
the last time I talked to him was on that same show. And it was like I was talking to a different person. It was a really boring call. We talked about the Shroud of Turin and everything. But
that's what he usually calls on.
The dude was polite about it. Calm, sober, able to go back and forth. He took notes on what we were saying and repeated it back to us as a steel man, not a straw man. I've never talked to that version of Gohan before, and I hope that guy calls back sometime and talks about pronouns. But the whole time I was waiting for the shoe to drop. I was waiting for the bit to end and for him to freak out about trans people or whatever the fuck. It was weird.
Mezzo, I'll figure something out. The thing is you have to be on with a host. And you guys are guest hosts. And right now, I think I would get murdered if I add 2 more white dudes, like before anybody else. When we expand the line again, hopefully it will be to increase diversity. But having you guys on as guests, because I love the combination of Mezzo and Joel, absolutely would be dope. I'm not saying never, on a host thing. It's just right now we're not expanding our host lineup, and when we do, I'm literally gonna be like, so the diversity thing would be a kind of a high. There are excellent people out there. We need only find them. What is happening with those? Oh, man, it's hard. This is the only reason why on my show I have the advantage of the producer also screening calls, and I want to ask Lux what's happening with all these callers who are giving up, but I guess you probably don't know.
No, that happens the past couple of times I've been on. Well, we have one person in the host queue. We're going to talk to them here in just a second. But
the one on the web caller has previously been snoozed, so for some reason it like lets them in and then automatically kicks them out, I'm pretty sure.
But there was like 3 or 4 phone numbers who called in. I saw one person wanted to say only some trans people are legitimate. I want to talk to people about God mostly on this show. Call in and tell us why you believe in God, ghosts. Well, that's more of a... oh my God, I almost did it, dude. I almost called it Skeppy Talk.
You should. Yeah. No, I want to talk about evolution, and I want to do it in short form. I want to talk to people who... Because I've been posting on Threads a whole bunch.
Yeah.
You know, the winners, all the winners on Threads, talking about how evolution isn't real and how you can't provide one bit of evolution without presupposing it already exists and all these things. Yeah. I want to talk about evolution for maybe a 10 to 30 minute call. So keep it real short. I would love to do a God call, and I would take a sex and gender call as long as we can stick to science. That's all. That's my whole thing. I want to stick to science on it and just see if people can talk about it, because I've yet to. I think that if transphobes were to study biology half as long as they bloviate about on the internet, there'd be no fucking transphobes anymore. They'd be gone. It'd be an extinct species. So that's the hope. Skippity talk. That's
people
what it
mad.
is.
Mezzo and Joel are getting DEI'd out of the job. No, I'm just kidding. By the way, I don't know if you've been introduced to them. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Joel yet because it's my natural feed, but Mezzo ends up in there good enough because I tend to pause there. Mezzo, there just makes me happy. He's very good.
Where are you?
They're like they do YouTube now too. That's how I've seen them. But they're like TikTok debaters, kind of like where we originally found Javon. And they do the go live vertical thing, and they're just good.
People on TikTok are losers, dude.
I hate TikTok. I don't know about that. Legitimately, I do too. TikTok.
It's awful. I would never be caught dead on the TikToks.
Yeah.
It's my primary platform.
If you believe in God, if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in magic in a young girl's heart, I think I'm going to make a vertical stream so we can I think we're going to simul stream here. I just got to get it set up. But if you actually believe in magic in a young girl's heart, not the meme, not the joke. Colin 336. Oh man, 720-619-2288. I'm fucking stuck on my other show. Sorry, guys.
The person's chat says get Grok to call in and debate. That's what happens when we debate just any Republican. They just call and they have to check Grok to see what they're allowed to think today. And
I've been doing it.
It's wild. Do you follow? There's an account. It is on TikTok. I don't know where else it is, but it's called Grok versus MAGA, and it's just MAGA
Reddit
running their passing their fucking dumbass racist talking points through Grok, and then Grok tells them about reality and they get really mad. And then Elon Musk inevitably has to reprogram Grok again and make it call itself Mecha Hitler until he walks it back again. And it's just, that's a real thing that happened, by the way. People were complaining that Grok was too good at doing searches and coming up, compiling data, and that it was therefore liberal and woke. And so Elon Musk reprogrammed Grok, and it immediately called itself Mecha Hitler and started talking about how if Hitler were here, he could turn the whole country around and fix all these things, and he's the leader we need and all this shit. And then they had to fix it, and now it's back to being a woke liberal again.
Why did Grok become Mecha Hitler when they put a little Elon-jism in it? Could somebody explain to me?
Weird how that worked. Weird how the fucking... the dude who was born of apartheid and quotes great replacement theory shit all the time somehow turned this thing into a Nazi. Weird, huh?
Oh yeah, today he's going off too because somebody on Reddit, basically it's the never acknowledging the fact that per capita and stats wise, there's a much more bigger problem with cisgender people, but somebody did something shitty who was trans. I can't remember. I think it was like a sexual assault or something that happened. Who was trans, and he just meant yet again. Here we are yet again. I was like, bruh, You have a white wiener. You guys put that in all kinds of places you're not supposed to. In fact, we've heard you've put it in places you've not supposed to. But did you make it to that Christmas party on whatever the wildest night on Epstein's Island was? I don't remember. I remember you trying hard. Did you make it? Did you make it there? Did you take home the gift bag?
Literally too big of a loser to go to Epstein Island. That's what gets me.
No, he's trying. He was trying hard.
You had all the evil billionaire pedophile ring going on, and Elon Musk, the richest man in the world by a very wide margin, didn't get to go to the super ultra rich secret ring because he's just a fucking wiener and nobody wanted to deal with him. And it's like, dude, imagine being too fucking lame to be accepted by the fucking evil pedophile cult. Like, how does that happen? That's crazy. And now he's having to make AI-generated videos of being a happy father.
That at least is not the reason why I am a huge fucking loser, but that's not why I'm not at pedo parties.
Dude, for real. Like, I may be a stupid fucking nerd, but like, at least I know that I wouldn't go to the goddamn pedo island.
Stupid nerd, you know, is a funny juxtaposition. Anyway, the God calls. Call in 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288.
We have someone who's deconstructing on the line, and then we have an atheist on the line who wants to talk about gender. So, like, I say we just jump into these two. We'll start with the theist, of course, and then we'll take the atheist, and then we'll see what happens then, because we've still got people. We've got what Jimmy was talking about earlier. For those who don't know, on our call screen over here, we can see who's calling in, and they have to go through several levels to get up to the host queue, and it's kind of just buzzing on the bottom. Like, we had people calling in over and over and getting dropped over and over. A couple people who've been blocked. 62 calls from one person who's already been banned before, trying to get in over and over and over. It's just.
I didn't see that until now. Yeah, oh my God, 62 banned callers.
A few people who try to get through and they can't make it through the screening room because we have a screener to make sure you're serious. It's a whole thing. So, like, anyway, we'll see what happens next. In the meantime, let's talk first to Kara for a second. Pronouns she and they, who is deconstructing from paganism, been there, done that, and wants some help. Kara, you're on the line with Forrest and Jimmy. How are you doing today?
Hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I can't literally believe I actually made it through on the first call.
Yeah, you are the first call, so don't blow it. The entire show relies on you. You are setting the tone for everybody right now for the entire program, so no pressure. Go ahead. Tell us your heartwarming story.
Don't put that on me, please. Yeah, sorry. I was totally unprepared for this. I do apologize. Long story short, I grew up Christian, lived in a very authoritarian household, kind of grew out of it, picked up paganism because I'm not down with a lot of the, how the morals are and the beliefs of, like, the Christians and all that. And, you know, I'm really, really very much into, like, the humanitarianism and trying to, you know, take care of one another and doing good for the sake of just doing good instead of because somebody told me to. The problem I'm having is deconstructing from paganism because I know it's not true and I know the gods aren't real. I guess I'm trying to bridge that gap or separating myself from that. Because I like the practices and the magic part of it, but I know it's not real.
Yeah. As someone who has been there, because I grew up pagan, and I deconstructed from that, you know, slowly but surely, and it was I same situation. I was gone from all the gods were fine. I was down without gods, but I still kind of held on to ghosts, and I kind of held on to magic, and I kind of held on to like ancestors, and I held on to fortune telling and signs and all these different things. It, like, honestly, I still use that kind of mentality quite a bit when I'm like thinking about biology. Taking on a more animistic view of the world around me, I feel helped me appreciate it a lot better. I still love the sort of like ritualistic behavior of like getting yourself into like a good mindset and focusing on something and like getting yourself to kind of like ground and meditated to a point where you're like, well, you're pushing out all the bullshit and you're able to just be for a minute and really appreciate where you are. Like, these are all components of it that are useful, and that it's just like with a lot of other religions. Like, these are things that bring about emotional effects and they make you very thoughtful, and those are great. Those are great things. And you don't have to attach anything to that. I had somebody at one point was talking about deconstructing from paganism, and they said they wanted to go burn all of their old pagan shit, but that felt like a ritual to them, and that sucked. They didn't want to do that because it felt like they were doing, an old magical thing. But what I told them, what I'll tell you now, is like, at the end of the day, you're doing whatever makes you happy. You attach whatever meaning you want to that stuff. So if you want to do away with those particular, ways of looking at it, that's fine. No one's going to be mad about that. That's not a problem. You can decide what meaning you apply to any of this stuff. Just find your happy, find your niche.
I'd add you need to weight what your ongoing participation does. So most of what he just said is probably true, but unless you're like participating in a group and your presence is further validating the people who do buy it. So I have this problem with a lot of atheists who are like super into tarot and all that kind of shit. And they're like, nah, it's fun. I'm just financially supporting $1 billion. Astrology is the big one. A multi-billion dollar industry. I'm just financially supporting and continuing to participate. Like, I won't even people know me as the guy who, like, Dan, who's the guy? The historian dude that everybody likes over here? Dan something. He's like huge. You know him, Dan something. You follow him on Reddit. He's like the Mormon historian who's like weirdly super right about most stuff.
Dan McClellan.
I won't even engage and support Dan McClellan because I know despite the fact that he's right on everything else, seemingly, he financially supports the Mormon church with tithing. And so I literally have to be like, yeah, don't buy his book. 10% of the money he makes goes to a queer hate group. And he's for some reason okay with that. So literally, like, I'm not even religious and I'm thinking about what am I supporting? And so you have to have that conversation with yourself of like, how important is it? What parts are fine? Is some of it just cosplaying and for fun? Sage smells like shit anyway. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It kind of sounds like I don't have to put a compulsion on it thinking that it has to be for a god. It can just be because I like nature and like the smell of the sage that I'm burning and just want my house to smell like it because it has a calming effect to me. I don't have to put the woo-woo on it.
Did that come through to everybody?
Yeah, it came through to me. What was that?
Okay. Should be good now.
Okay. Yeah, if you just like the smell of incense, smell some incense. That's fine. But and what I'm saying is if you want to, like, I think about when people have those fancy ass coffee makers and everything like that, they have like a coffee machine and it's like you've got to grind it personally and they have like the little thing in their pocket and they click clacks all together and they get it just right in the way they want. And they have this very ritualistic way of making and then smelling and then tasting and enjoying. And it's just this really methodical, ritualistic process of enjoying this coffee. And that is as much of a ritual as someone who's burning incense and reading some, runes that they don't really know the meaning of and praying to some god and all this thing. It's just getting you in the right headspace that you want to be in, centering yourself, calming your mind, grounding yourself to the world around you, getting you into a more appreciative frame of mind. Like, those are all things that I have no problem with anybody doing. And if you want to do all those things, have fun doing all those things. You assign whatever meaning you do or don't want to that stuff. And then you can worry about, as well as like what Jimmy talked about, being conscientious. If you're using, for example, sage, which you like the smell of, be cognizant of the fact that that is somebody else's cultural tradition, unless you're Native American, I don't know. And make sure you're getting it from a reputable source that isn't just using, cultural appropriation and unethically sourcing this shit. You can have that conversation and make those decisions later on. You know what I mean? That's fine.
Of course. Yeah, of course. I totally try to put my dollars where my mouth is, so to speak, politically with all that. I do all that, and I try not to put it towards any big groups of like religious sects and things like that, and then try to do ethically source if I can afford it. Unfortunately, things are really expensive here in America, so like I do my best, but I try to just like source everything I can as ethically as possible without being, the whole like doing the whole cultural appropriation, which I don't want to do that either. But I think
what are the specific things that like you're feeling worried about? Yeah, I mean, if you want to share them, I'd be interested to know, like, what are the things where you're like, I don't know how I feel about the fact that I'm participating in such and such.
As far as like paganism goes,
Yeah.
I'm not really 100% sure. I guess the fear would be like, it's not the same as Christianity or like Abrahamic religions, and the sources that I've read and things seem to be more of a humanitarian approach. However, is technically still like a religion. So it was trying to get out of it and do it without it being a religion, thinking that it was going to be reciprocity with, the Norse pagan gods or whatever.
So you're not actually like going to rituals or something. You're just worried about, like, you're trying to get rid of the worry that something ethereal is going to be mad at you.
No, I don't really care about that. To be honest, I hadn't really thought about it, but now that you said it, no, I don't. I don't really care about that either.
There you go.
I guess I don't know what. So what was left? Like, what's like an example of one of the things that you're like, even if you frame it in like knowing Forrest and I, like, yeah, you guys probably wouldn't think this is a reasonable thing for a person who knows gods don't exist to do, but I'm still doing it.
I guess, like, not that they're going to be mad at me, but I guess it's like, in paganism, it's more of like a reciprocity thing, like doing rituals and things like that for them, thinking you're going to get something out of it, even if you don't get nothing out of it, like a something for nothing type deal. Mm-hmm. I guess is where I'm stuck.
So I think that's a wonderful thing to keep on to. So like when I every year, right outside of Tulsa, there's a blueberry farm. It's called Thunderbird Berry Farm. If anybody around Tulsa wants to check them out, you totally should. And around June, the blueberry harvest comes in, and they have this awesome program where you can go out there and pick as many blueberries as you want, and they're super cheap because you're doing the labor, right? So they don't have to pay for labor, for packaging, for shipping, all this stuff, right? And so, like, we'll go out there and pay like, $20 to $40 and come out with like 20 pounds of fucking blueberries. I'm exaggerating, but it's a ridiculous amount of fucking blueberries.
Right.
And
right.
Going out there and harvesting these blueberries, for me, is one example of a very, for lack of a better word, spiritual experience for me, because I see that reciprocity. I'm very aware of that, where at this moment, I am taking something from nature. These plants have grown this thing, I'm taking it, and I'm enjoying it, and now I will do something else in return. I'm going to go, fertilize the ground somewhere. When I die, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure to pick up some litter. I'm going to make sure to do something else. In this instance, my job is to receive a gift. And later on, my job is to give a gift. We have in a capitalist framework, we have this really awful form of reciprocity where, like, if somebody gives you something, we all feel obligated to apologize for receiving something nice and tell them, oh, you didn't have to do that. Let me get you back next time. I'll do something. The point in that moment is to receive. And how wonderful to have that love from a friend that allows you to receive a gift. Your job is to just be grateful in that moment. And it's the same thing with harvesting some fruit. Plants are smart things. They know how to make food and medicine out of air and sunshine, and they give it away for free. We could learn from that. And so, like, I have that very reciprocity mindset, and I have that appreciation for nature, and I have that. I appreciate the wisdom of the natural world around me. I can meditate on that and think on that while I'm out there harvesting, especially hearing the bird song and feeling the grass under my feet and harvesting fruit from plants and thinking about what they're all about. I think about the science of it too. All of those parts are things that I would have done as a pagan and was taught to do as a pagan. These are very, almost animistic kind of ways of thinking. And that is a beautiful holdover from paganism for me. What I don't do is then assign a spirit or some intentionality or anything to what I'm doing. I can give that plant back its personhood, and I can establish the fact that this plant is a living thing and that it has the same rights in this world as everyone, and I can talk about that without assigning agency the way that I would in a magical framework. You know what I mean? So, like, I think thinking about it the way that you were talking about giving and taking and doing the ritual for the ritual's sake and maybe get something back and maybe you don't. All those things, I'm fine with all that, dude. Seriously, I think those are beautiful ways to live as long as you're not, like Jimmy's talked about, buying into some bullshit, either monetarily or literally, and as long as you're not then giving up into real magical thinking and saying, okay, well, I guess I have to come up with some god to thank for this now because it's just not necessary. You don't have to do that at all.
But I don't know if I would take it as far as him. I don't know that you want to find yourself every time you receive, you fertilize the ground. That's what I heard. Don't take
well, no, not literally. I'm talking about like I'm going to be kind to the earth because the earth is being kind to me, and you have almost a personal relationship with nature in that way.
Lux, you got it, right?
I'm not saying you have to go shit on a bush every time you take fruit out of it to make sure that it's fertilized.
Right.
I'm saying just like you have that appreciation for the fact that you're a part of this world. You know what I mean?
Chat, did you get it? Lux?
I don't know what you said. It was a terrible joke.
You
and
said I receive and then I fertilize the ground.
Is it what is it? Is it semen? Is it poop? Where are we taking it? Because
fertilize the ground is literally like from the Bible, and it's about coming on the ground.
I didn't know that. You're the only person who knows that.
Okay, yes, first of all, no, I'm not, because it's the verse where people are like, he's not anti-mass. Is when they argue that Christians will say that verse proves God hates masturbation.
Okay. Well,
thank you, Chad's got my back.
You don't have to jizz on the ground whenever you harvest, but you should. And that, yes, that is the message of the line. That's what you're here for.
Okay. Sorry, I was trying to be quiet. Oh, that's hilarious.
No, you're
that's
fine.
Great, guys. Thank you.
Anyway, I hope this is helpful.
No, it really is.
You pick your own story in deconstruction.
Yeah, I think I just needed to hear like basically what I'm doing, as long as I'm doing good and not like attaching woo-woo to it. It seems like it's fine. And it was just kind of like I'm just all in my head about it.
From what you were saying earlier on, where you kind of immediately like walked back something that even you were saying was a hang up, it sounds like you've been in your head, and I've been there, and everybody's been there. So I hope that at the very least, just getting this out in the open and like thinking it out loud is helping in some way. But I wish you all the best on your journey. And if there's anything in particular that we didn't cover today or that you want to call back in about and then talk about later, we're going to be here for you. So call back in anytime.
Absolutely, guys. I enjoyed talking with you. As always, thank you so much, and I super appreciate what you do. And I did get the stickers when you guys did your live the one time. They were really nice, so thank you, guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've got it around here somewhere. There's a really good book called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. There it is, over here. I got one on. This one. Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. She is a Potawatomi woman, and she's also a PhD plant biologist. And this book is all about blending her indigenous ontologies and like the way that she was taught to look at the world as a Native American with her expert understanding of biology. And I had to read a chapter of this called The Language of Animism for my anthropology degree, talking about like how looking at the world through that lens isn't necessarily a magical thing. But the whole freaking book is phenomenal, and you should check it out, especially as an ex-pagan looking at the world the way that I just talked about. I love the way she talks about it, and you don't have to agree with everything she says, but like there's a lot in here about everything that I covered today about like, seeing yourself as a part of nature, deconstructing, kind of more Western imposed ideas of control or dominance over nature, giving plants and things back their personhood, understanding. I love the whole lesson on like she has this word for. She was studying her language, and there was a word for being a bay, like a place with water and rocks, like and there's a word for to be that, and she's like, that's so stupid. It just is that or isn't. And then she kind of realizes none of that is permanent. The rocks move, the water moves, the plants move, the earth changes. Like this, in this moment, all these things are together. Being that and thinking about it in that way is a much cooler way to think about it in terms of natural history. So like, check that out and you might like it.
Yeah, no, I totally will. I like all the sciencey things, and I enjoy your channel with all the sciencey and biology things too. So I will check it out. Thank you.
Hell yeah. All right, we'll see you later on, Kara. Thanks so much.
Great. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. What a pleasant first call.
Too pleasant.
Yeah. It happens. It happens. Sometimes we get shows where everybody's just nice, you know?
Ugh.
It's awful.
Horrible.
Let's see how this one goes. Let's talk to Dan.
We have the vertical up now, but nobody's chatting in the. Hey, if you're over in the vertical live chat, tap the screen, hit like, help us get more viewers, because we find that the vertical often sources even more callers of the topics we're looking at. So if you're over in vertical right now, which is up, hit the like and send it to your MAGA dads. I want to talk to MAGA dads today.
Pull up the fucking vertical chat. Hold on a second. Okay, I got both chats over there. It's awful.
Well, Evan gets a shout out for being the first person to say something.
Hey, Evan. Thanks for making everything worse by chatting on YouTube.
Thank you for being a friend.
Let's talk to okay, well, never mind. I was going to do
people on a horizontal stream still shit talking vertical streams. They can't hurt you. You're on horizontal. I don't know.
No,
I don't get the hate.
It can't hurt you. If you do the vertical stream, it will infect your phone and you'll never be the same again.
These phones are ginormous. I have big hands. Well, yeah. I'm 6'2". They're big. Y'all can't literally understand the desire to just hold a stream like this if you're in, I don't know. It makes sense to me.
It's bad for you and it's bad for your phone. It'll damage your phone if you do it.
Anything from my garden. What garden do you think I have?
Let's talk to Dan from the UK who says gender shouldn't exist. What does that even mean? Dan, you're on the line with Forrest and Jimmy. How are you doing today? Dan, if you're there and you can hear us, your phone might have gone to sleep because you're on the web caller. Make sure your phone is awake. Otherwise, we can't hear you. It's a unique thing with the web caller. We don't know why it happens. But just tap your phone, make sure the screen's turned on, and then we can hear you.
Done. Dun, 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 dun.
Dan, if we can hear you. If you can hear us, we cannot hear you. But we'll give you a minute. Figure out how to use the phone, because it can be confusing. It's counterintuitive, Dan, and it sucks. And if you can't get us on the line in 10 more seconds, that'll be a whole minute. Then I'm going to move on to the next call, Dan. So I hope you can tell us why you think gender shouldn't exist. That's a very strange thing to say.
I mean, they called in with they, them pronouns. I'm going to guess it was a super progressive, like, it shouldn't even be a thing. I doubt I agree. Maybe. I think that gender dysphoria should have easy to access comprehensive resolutions. And I think that people shouldn't be shitty to people over gender. But I got to tell you, gender euphoria is as good as gender dysphoria is bad. And I don't know that I'd want to, I feel like we would lose if we just didn't recognize gender at all. And in fact, we're just gender accepting of everybody. I think that's the better world, because I like feeling masculine for going and working in my wood shop. Sure. Or, I look like shit without a beard, and I like that I look kind of passable because it enhances a masculine look to me.
I started recognizing gender euphoria as a thing because of Luxander. Because they pointed out something I was describing as gender euphoria, and now I've noticed a few times when I've felt that, and it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to think about, and like that's a cool, like, I don't know, man. People don't in this society, cis people don't take the time to really just think about what their gender is and what it means, and like really analyze it and tinker with it and play with it and see what it's all about. And I think more people should. I think it's cooler.
Yeah, I think it should also be fine if you don't. Like, if it's not important to you, but we should live in a society where you're made aware of, it's not important to me that other people, or it's not important to me that I fulfill a foot fetish, because I don't have a foot fetish. But it's important to me that sexual positivity exists for everybody, so that people aren't being shamed for merely having a foot fetish, especially when that one, apparently it's like brain wires, or like your brain processes feet the same. Anyway, I want sexual positivity for the same thing of for like gender positivity. Like, we should educate everybody on all of it, and everybody should be good with it, and then like we just go on. And if sexual stuff is important to you, then it is, and if it's not, you should be able to go on your way. And same thing with gender. If it's important to you, you should be accepted by society, and if it's not, you should go on your way.
you don't have a foot fetish, but you do have a foot, and therefore you could still
find it repulsive.
participate. And that is also that you're right. That is one hypothesis of it, is that you have in this part of your brain called the somatosensory cortex. It's the part of your brain that does the thing of feeling
gets aroused.
what's going on in your body. And no, not just it gets aroused. It's literally where you feel. Like if I touch anywhere on my body, my somatosensory cortex is where that touch is processed.
Oh, foot fetish is the hypothesis, though, is that the part of your brain that like we associate with sexuality and what arouses you and identifies as the arousal state, that people with a foot fetish see feet the way we other people, like I might see boobs. It hits the same parts of the brain.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, let me get a picture pulled up here. So I'm just going to pop this out and pop it up on the screen for me like this. And hopefully then you're going to see the chat as well, but I'm going to share my screen there. And now, I don't know what this looks like on the vertical. I'm assuming you're also seeing the chat on both sides. But this is called a homunculus. And so this is a layout of where like these parts of your brain feel things. And so on the front here, you've got, this is actually not great. One of these, so it's a motor motor. Okay, so I would learn this is primary motor, but whatever. So you've got this anterior gyrus here is called the primary motor cortex. This calls it somatomotor cortex, whatever. And on the backside, the posterior gyrus here behind the central sulcus, this is called the somatosensory cortex. And this is called a homunculus. This is a layout of where these parts of your body are felt on this parts of your brain. So like, if I'm touching my tongue, I'm feeling that on this part of my brain versus my hands on this part of my brain. And the key is...
Are you explaining this to me or chat? I just realized I might be being rude. I fucking drifted off. Are you telling me this?
I'm telling anybody who's listening to
this.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. If you need me to know what you're saying, start over.
So this is the two parts of your brain. I'm looking at just this purple part, right?
Okay.
So this is showing the primary motor cortex and the primary sensation part of your brain. And so... this is your somatosensory cortex. It's the part of your brain that feels things on your body. This is the part that moves things on your body. So ignore that right half of the thing. But this left half is a part of your brain that is responsible for feeling things on your body. And this spread out human here is called a homunculus. It's
I was going to say, can we talk about these terrible nightmare diagrams of the hand man with his balls hanging under his toes?
Yeah, this is called a homunculus, and it's a diagram showing the different parts of this somatosensory cortex that feels things. So here on this lateral part over here, you can see my tongue and my gums and my face and everything. So like if I'm touching my tongue and I'm yes, these are mine specifically. If I'm feeling this, if I'm feeling my tongue,
what I put on the coin logo wasn't accurate, but that's like that guy exactly, and you said that's you.
No, it's your coin logo is clearly me and Promise, first of all. Second of all, this is part of your brain that feels, it's just my giant forehead, the tongue. And if you're talking about your hand, it's up here. And if you go to this real medial part of the brain, you'll notice this is where you feel feet and genitalia. This is where your brain processes those things. And so one hypothesis for foot fetishes is that these, for lack of a better word, wires are getting crossed and that you're feeling things associated with feet the same way you're processing things associated with genitals.
Because
it's one way of looking.
It would be interesting, but my understanding is usually, first of all, it's mostly amongst men who are attracted to women are the people who primarily have. There's very little outside.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. And so then it's like, and I think it's probably cisgender men who are attracted to women. And usually it seems like they want that they are perceiving the women's feet as something to engage with. I don't know. I'd have to.
There also, there is
I like
another...
talking to, this is, we're leaving Alyssa out and she probably has all the insight. As the sex
men
educator.
are talking. It's fine. No, the other thing that's really interesting,
Sexist. I got canceled.
There's also a strong association. I don't know about the gender or sexuality specific associations, but I do know is that there's another strong correlation with STIs and exposure. So like you look at like there's like this syphilis outbreak in France back in like the fucking 1700s, some shit like that, and immediately following that, there's this massive spike in like foot fetish content being produced and stuff.
Wild.
And we see that a lot where like people talk about it as like it's a safe part of the body, that you can't, and so like there may be something going on psychologically there where like if you have some like either trauma or exposure or risk or worry or whatever like that there may be some association there.
I bet there's a lot of UTIs coming off the feet. Feet are gross, guys.
I don't know about
fucking
that.
Gross. I find them like literally. I don't like looking at my own feet. I don't like seeing other people's feet repulsed. I have the opposite of whatever the fetish is.
I'm just saying, there's some interesting hypotheses out there, and it's nothing that we and I made a video about that once years and years ago, and I talked about that, and it is, I think to this day, either my first or second most, like I got news articles published about it. No, I did not. I showed one of my old neuroscience textbooks, and like and showing that diagram.
Didn't even show feet.
And it blew up. I had news articles like this biologist proves where, and George Takei reposted it, was like, oh my, and I'm like, what the, and like that
Bro,
was my fucking.
We have calls so bad right now.
I don't give a damn. I'm going to complain about this. All right, let's talk to Dan again. Dan called back. Hey, Dan, can you hear us this time?
Let's do this fast because the other call's looking dope.
Yeah,
Dan,
I can hear you. Can you hear me this time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Did you hear what I guessed was what you were calling in on, and did I get it right?
Yeah. For the most part, actually, yeah. He did, to be fair.
Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't think there's much else to go over, but I get it. I get why you would feel that way. You can give a little thing and make it quick, but we've got like all these theists lining up, and I've been champing at the bit for a God call. So,
no, I don't.
You want to just give like a quick summary of your, yeah, you can give a quick summary of your spot, and then we'll move on.
So basically, my kind of like feel towards all of it was kind of like that. Like we both agree that like gender's a social construct, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because gender and sex are separate and everything else, like we can just like kind of like ignore the gender aspect of like most things, because gender in a social society, like because you said about say you get gender euphoria, which I do think as well is still kind of like a social construct as well, and kind of partially reaffirms kind of like the like that's masculine, that's feminine, so that's a guy thing, that's a girl thing in society, if you know what I mean.
Sure, but I mean, to be clear, you understand, Dan, that social construct doesn't mean arbitrarily social construct. There are like non-arbitrary things that cause genders to tend to go more often one direction than the other. There are some that look silly, like our dressing standards that seem very silly, but there are other things that aren't that way.
Even in non-human primates.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. See, the main part of in my like kind of like mind in a way that I kind of want to flesh out a little is a case of like, because I talk about gender euphoria, like it's like an emotional feeling that you have inside of you, and you like feel good from these things and that, and a case of that essentially within society we should just look at people as just persons and that sort of thing, like because I know about like in the animal kingdom, like it kind of needs to remain within certain like sciences and that sort of thing, but like within society essentially I'm kind of like saying that like gender just shouldn't exist as a thing, basically, if you know what I mean.
I think the issue with that is that you are like, I'm okay with saying that gender shouldn't exist as a
limiter,
a factor of judgment, or like a limiter. Yeah, I think that I agree with all those things. But because it is something that is so widespread, so diverse across all of human history, we look at like these massive differences in gender and gender expression across time and space and cultures and all these things. By just saying that it shouldn't exist at all, you are necessarily erasing all of that. And it's kind of like when somebody says, you know, well, race is a social construct, and so we should just we shouldn't talk about race anymore. We shouldn't discuss it and everything. It's, you are taking away a part of someone's identity, something that means something to them. And while I agree that it shouldn't be consequential in the ways that it is, by just saying it shouldn't exist at all, you are erasing all of these cultural differences, all of these beautiful cultural developments, all of these ways that people express themselves, see themselves, identify with themselves and others, like, and you are diminishing a massive amount of like anthropological beauty across millions and millions of years. I just don't think that's worth the risk or worth the change.
In a lot of ways, Dan, if we were to accept this line, we would be undermining also by the way, there's a typo, atheist Kaleller, in the banner there.
No,
we'd
right.
be really undermining the experience of a lot of trans people to accept this, like just the total abolition of the concept of gender. Because at the end of the day, it would be like, I think you will find a lot of people have put a lot. It is the recognition that there is something and that what is expected of them of that something doesn't line up with how they actually feel that cause people to transition. So at the end of the day, when I'm talking to trans women whose lives were ruined by not being recognized as the women they are, I don't think I care to tell them like, yeah, but it's kind of like a soft bigotry I had when I was younger about marriage, where I was like, you know what, let's just get rid of all marriage and then we don't have to worry about the gay marriage thing. And then one day I realized like, no, if that's the solution, first we have to give everybody marriage, and only once everyone doesn't care to have it because we gave it to the straights for so long, then we can pull back and have that conversation. But at the moment, this seems like way less arbitrary than marriage, and so it would really undermine the experience of a lot of trans people if we were basically saying like, yeah, but the thing that you guys makes you feel so inclined to transition, it's almost like we're saying we're coming down on the side that transgender identities are purely nurture and there isn't a nature element of it too.
Yeah.
I can't get what you're saying on that, and I do 100% respect all of that as well, and I wouldn't want to like kind of like take away anyone's like rights, values, or struggles, or anything of the sort, on that, because like, they've fought hard. It was a case of I'm more like kind of like abdicating that, moving forward in a way, basically, like as society, we should try to like give everyone the equal rights on that first. I 100% agree, and they should be should be treated as human beings, essentially, is what I'm saying on that.
Yeah, we should be able to put more fingers on more people's mouths and go, shh, you don't actually care about this. Shut the fuck up. Right. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you, Dan, in terms of like treating people as humans. It's just I think it's an interesting thought experiment to wonder what it would look like if we were to do away with gender. But I don't think that the means actually, or I don't think that either the means justify the ends or vice versa. I just don't think we're there. But I think it's an interesting thing to talk about, and I appreciate you calling back to bringing it up.
Okay, cool. Thank you for giving your thoughts on that. It's actually quite. I can go think about that a bit more and like research a bit more with more like extensive thought about how cultures and that sort of thing have played a bit more of a part in that, because I will admit, like, I didn't really think about it in that sense. I thought about it more as like a progressive, like we can just start treating everyone better kind of thing in a way.
What a noble thing to think about. So like, think about it more and call us back if you have any other disagreements, you want to talk about it further.
But don't call when Lux is on, just us. Okay, bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
I think I saw Steph say in the Discord chat, another day of the Cis Atlantic Call-In show. Kinda.
I do love taking abortion calls when I have a woman as a producer. I love taking trans calls when I have a trans or a non-binary person as a producer. So I can just be like, it's a really good thing they weren't in here, so that the two cis men can talk about this a little more.
There are certain things where I prefer it where it's one of us, and then I feel like everybody I co-host with does understand that sometimes I'm not just trying to, like Javon and I had this moment that was funny where he was like, did you just repeat the exact same thing I just said? And I was like, yeah, but white. And you realize the white caller probably heard it now, right? And he was like, I don't even disagree. Like, that's literally, unfortunately, true. They don't hear until it's one of them.
I've done the joke that I did a minute ago with you, where I was like, men are talking and all that. Yeah. I have done that with a female co-host, and it actually lands because the caller is paying attention. It's great. It's funny.
I'd love to have Samantha Lux on the line. I haven't reached out to her in forever. We were following each other on something forever ago, but Samantha would be great. Someone said, let's get Samantha Lux on the line. As far as I know, it's been so many years. For all I know, I don't know if she stabs people now. I don't know what she's up to.
Let's talk to Kyle, who's a deist, who said, this is what it says on the call screen: if you're consenting to sex, isn't that implied consent to pregnancy? Kyle, you're on the line with Forrest and Jimmy. How are you doing today?
Hello, what's good? What's good? I'm happy to talk to you. First of all, Forrest, huge fan, and Jimmy.
Oh, God.
I mean, this is like the dream team. This is a dream
Gross.
team. I'm so happy I got you guys on the line. Let's go.
Right on.
Hey, Kyle,
We're happy to have you.
are you driving?
No, that's Your
Okay.
your call screener asked me that too.
You just sound like shit.
Yeah.
How old are you?
It's
Let me start. I promise. So it's a pass. How old are you, Kyle?
Hello, is this better?
Yes, much better. How old are you,
way
Kyle?
better.
22.
22. Have you ever had sex?
Yes, I've had sex many times. Yes.
Are you cisgender or transgender? If you don't mind answering.
Cis. Yeah, cis.
You are cisgender? So you've had sex many times, though, we said?
I can't hear that. What was that?
Did you say you've had sex many times?
Yes, I've had sex many times. Yes.
So just engaging the statement here, you have consented to become pregnant many times?
No, women consent to become pregnant, and women consent to possibly
How convenient.
become a father.
So would you,
you-
no, you don't consent to becoming a father, but we'll get to there. So it is your position that when a man is having sex, he is a cis man, he is not consenting to getting pregnant, but a woman necessarily is consenting to getting pregnant. That is your position.
Correct. Yeah, I think
And you
the
don't
men
see
would
the problem
have
with that.
obligations as well.
Right.
yeah.
Not to pregnancy.
Yeah.
Men and women are equal when it comes to when the baby is alive, but not to pregnancy. In fact, you have a right to an abortion, Kyle. Just get pregnant and you can use it. Okay? But Kyle, you don't see the problem there, that you believe that you engage in this thing, and when you're thinking about engaging in it, the threat of you getting pregnant is not going to be a big consideration, but you consider that other people who could get pregnant must have that as big of a consideration.
Well, I mean, yeah, men and different deal with differences in life all the time, and that's just something that is because we're different.
We're not, that's not what we're talking
how
about.
does that
We're talking about a
change the
concept
point?
of consent. We're talking about consenting, as in, I am making the decision in the face of this threat. And no one is consenting to pregnancy anyone more than someone is consenting to a car crash when getting in a car.
That
I
was
would
going to
like-
be my question. I was going to say, if you drive, are you consenting to getting into a car wreck and dying in a horrible accident? Like it's just not really.
I'm consenting to
reason.
that.
Kyle,
risk
say if the
I
driver's
get
a
in the
woman.
car. Yeah.
Sure. Well, hold on. Wait, Kyle, you're consenting to that risk. I agree with that. If you get in a car crash, what are you going to do about it?
If I get in a car crash, I have to deal with the consequences of the car crash. Call insurance.
You're going to probably
and
go
if
to
I
a
get injured, I have
doctor.
to go to the hospital.
Yeah, you're going to go to the hospital. You're going to get fixed up. You're going to try to rectify the situation. Similarly, if a woman is having consensual sex and just having fun, because sex is a jolly thing to do, she is, of course, accepting the risk that there is pregnancy involved. She understands that. She's not stupid. But if it happens, she's going to rectify the situation. She's going to, take a morning after pill, maybe get an abortion if she has to, whatever. Bing, bang, boom, done. There is not equal investment in terms of pregnancy. So she, bearing the greater risk, has access to greater resources to make sure that she is no longer dealing with the consequences that she did not want to have happen. Just as you understand there's a risk of getting a car crash. That's a consequence. You don't deal with the consequences of that by just saying, well, fuck it, I'm injured now. I guess I'm just going to live this way. You rectify the situation because you had a bad situation, a bad outcome, and you take care of it. It's really as easy
I
as
wanted him to say, if you get in a car with a woman who's driving, I wanted him to say something as sexist as the first thing, but he doesn't realize the first thing is sexist. My guy, we're not, consent to risk is not, we're literally all the time we're consenting to risk. It's not the same thing as consenting to pregnancy.
Or maintaining that risk, rather, because you got to put it across the board. You can accept that there is a risk. That doesn't mean that if the risky thing happens, you just deal with that now, and that's just your life. You can still usually go back and try to correct the situation.
But bro,
That's
Kyle, I'll blow your mind right now. Let's say a woman goes, you know what?
though?
Hang on, Kyle. I'm going to tell you this right now. Let's say a woman goes, cisgender woman. She says, I am ovulating. I know if I have sex right now, I'm going to get pregnant. And she shares that with the partner and they consent to sex that will result in a pregnancy. I still don't care if she aborts that shit.
I don't at all.
It's a weird form of birth control, but especially there's not even a moral consideration before the brain turns on. Why do you deserve a brain that has never turned on an eventual experience just because it could potentially experience? There's no being there. There's no personhood to have slighted. If I was never alive, I would have never lamented never living. It's only a characteristic of the living to lament your life and the longevity of it. So Kyle, if a woman fully consented to pregnancy and wrote down, I'm trying to get pregnant, I'd still let her abort that shit.
Okay, so aren't there complications that come with just accepting abortion across the board and anyone can have an abortion anytime they get pregnant?
Under
Yes.
20, what is it, 20 weeks? Legitimately, I would not put the government in place at all, because we already have a medical apparatus that prevents late-term abortions that are arbitrary, and because late-term abortions are so much more complicated, nobody resorts to them anyway for arbitrary shit of just, I don't feel like being pregnant or whatever. I wouldn't even call that arbitrary, but for like elective reasons, because it's so much harder to get a baby aborted versus like, or an almost baby aborted versus like a very underdeveloped fetus. So before 20 weeks, legitimately, even if the reason for it is bigoted, I don't find the action itself a problem. The person's a problem. I've said it before. It pisses people off. If a woman is aborting her fetus because it's the wrong race, and we're talking in that mark of the 20 before 20 weeks, and the literal reason, I think she's an immoral piece of shit, but the actual option of the abortion has no moral bearing. The same way if a person crosses the road, there's no moral bearing about crossing the road. But if you cross the road to avoid the fact that there are black people and you just are scared of black people, there is something wrong with you. But the crossing the road action, there's nothing moral or immoral about crossing the road. Your motivations could be immoral, but I'm not going to stop you from having the right to cross the road or aborting your little parasite.
Okay. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. The reason is not my question. It's just the act in itself. I don't know. It just seems like not wanting to take responsibility. I guess I don't really have a good answer on why they shouldn't be able to, but it just wouldn't that cause all other kinds of issues?
Kyle, Kyle, why don't you want to go get somebody pregnant right now and have a baby? Why don't you want to take responsibility right now?
Me and my girlfriend honestly both say if we were to have a baby that
no, but you're not having a baby right now, right, Kyle?
For one.
Right. So why not? Why aren't you trying for one? Why aren't you ready to take responsibility and try? Because the timing's not right. So just because this arbitrary fetus with no existence is present or not, you don't need to consider them. They can't accomplish consideration themselves. They don't have experience. So why the fuck would it matter that they don't want to take responsibility in the face of something unchosen? You're right now choosing to not have babies. Why are you better than them when no slight is being done to a conscious person?
Yeah, I mean that's fair. No, I understand that. It's just using it as birth control. It just seems very extreme.
People don't use it as birth control. It's not intentionally used as birth control.
What I think is really important here, Kyle, what you just said a second ago, you said, I guess I don't really have a reason for them not to be able to do it. And I want to I hope you think about that, because at the end of the day, no one's forcing you to get an abortion. No one's forcing you to engage in any of this, but we don't make laws that way. We make laws around you have to have a reason to not do the thing, right? You have to be able to say, hey, this is some societal harm. This is something that actually has a serious negative outcome, and therefore we are now going to regulate it, ban it, whatever the case may be. So, like, for you to say, there's no reason for you not to be able to do this, I just don't want you to, I think you should be very glad we don't make laws that way, or at least we shouldn't anyway, because otherwise somebody would be saying the same shit to you about something that you disagree with and taking away a right that you have. And in this case, what we're talking about is bodily autonomy. We're talking about someone's choice about what is using their body, who gets to live inside their body and use their organs to sustain themselves. Pregnancy is not a benign condition. It is an extremely tasking and dangerous thing. We have a high maternal mortality rate, especially in this country. As far as the rest of the developed world, we fucking rise above the rest, and women who die during pregnancy and childbirth, it's horrible. So, like, if someone doesn't want to do that and wants to maintain control over their body and decide who gets to live in there, that's no problem for me. I think they should have that right. And what you're saying here is that in a way that we would not treat anybody else for any other crime, right? You'd have to commit a serious fucking crime to have your rights to your body taken away from you, to be put on death row or some shit like this. But in this case, we're talking about someone having sex. Someone does something fun. Someone enjoys time with their partner. And now they are in this uniquely horrible situation where they're being given this cruel and unusual punishment that you no longer get to decide what happens to your body anymore. That's fucking weird, and it's one-sided, and it's not balanced, and it just sucks. And I encourage you just to think about it a little bit further.
You know what I would love to do? You know how in some countries they have prank TV shows that go way further than American shows are allowed to go?
Way too far? Yeah.
I wish we could do something like that in America, but specifically we bring in anti-abortion men to a doctor's office and we break to them like, okay, this is going to sound crazy. It doesn't happen that much. Here's a book with the thing. For lack of a better term, you're kind of pregnant. You actually have a fetus developing in your body. Make up whatever science jargon you need to. It'll basically, like, the cool thing is where it is supplanted in your system, you'll actually be fine. We can make this thing come to term and then just give you a cesarean. Even delivering it, you would survive and you'd be fine. The way I know every one of those pro-life guys would be like, yeah, but what if we just go ahead and abort it? Though?
You don't have to do that. You can just look at the amount of super pro-life Republican Congress people who have a mistress that they've paid for 30 abortions with. Like, at the end of the day,
I get it. This one's funnier, and it would be fun on TV, and I'd put it on my YouTube channel.
Anyway, Kyle, does all that make sense? What we're talking about?
Normal circumstance, first of all. Like,
no, but again, I just told you, Kyle.
Kyle,
bada bing, bada boom. You just owned yourself. Congratulations, you played yourself. I already said all of the things are in place. It is abnormal, but it's safe. You'll be able to safely do it. What do you mean you didn't agree? You had sex. So yeah, you didn't agree to be pregnant like most women when they have sex, because most sex occurs not for the sake of procreation, because it's good for you. And by the way, Kyle, what about the fact
that I could get pregnant, I would not have just been having sex casually. Like,
her egg swam up your urethra like the mighty Candiru and planted itself in one of your fucking ductus deferens, and your balls are gonna swell with a baby fucking soon. It's crazy.
But Kyle, you're literally in your position. If she got pregnant, she should take responsibility and the two of you should bring it. So why would it matter whether or not, if you knew that was a possibility, if you had waited in a state of horniness where parts of your brain literally shut off from making good logical decisions? So what's better? Teaching people as a habit when they're in those positions to, even while you are horny and dumb, here's the things you habitually know to do to be safe and maximize your potential, or to like just cut everybody off. And it's a rhetorical question. Here's another question, Kyle. Let's say that you are a woman who wants to have kids one day, and based on your whole schedule, you're thinking somewhere between 26 and 28 is when you want to have kids. To maximize your potential to be able to have a child between 26 and 28, should you remain celibate, or should you actually have healthy amounts of sex between, we'll just say as an adult from 18 to 26 until you're ready? Which one maximizes your ability to have a family?
Well, you should remain celibate if you don't want to have children.
Incorrect. Sex is an important part of keeping for you and the person you want to fuck with. It will actually increase your odds of successfully getting pregnant when the time is right. for you to have sex along the way. Celibacy is not good for you, and it's not good for your reproductive system, and amongst other things also increases occurrences of certain cancers amongst both people. So no, Kyle,
Well, hold on.
if you are a person who wants a
masturbation
baby
just fill
and a
that void?
family, no, it
Masturbation
is literally
wouldn't fill that
no,
void?
it is literally healthier. Do you do the same shit when you jerk off versus when you fuck? Maybe we've reached the problem here. Sex
No, I'm just
sex
saying it's
sex activates multiple systems. Masturbation is also healthy for you, but it does not hit all of the things that it hits for when you have a baby. Not to mention how many fucking idiots, because they have had philosophies like you, don't start having sex until you're ready to have a baby, waited to have sex until they got married with the same fucking foundation, Kyle. By the way, I wasn't calling you an idiot, but this is one of your more idiotic ideas. Waits until marriage, and now they feel like because they put such pressure on it, they are committed to a person. I'm just not doing it, Kyle. I'm not doing this is the consent and you should wait in that, when I've had the emails from the people going, I am trapped in this family I'm in, and I didn't realize until I had sex with my husband after we got married that I'm a lesbian, because I thought it was sex with him that was going to reveal to me why I would be attracted to him. Like, I thought that would be the moment. And that's not even an uncommon experience of people who are gay, of people who don't realize they are gay until later in life. Like my guy, there is no good reason to try and cut off abortion access or enforce that women should consider consent to sex as consent to pregnancy.
all right. Well, I guess abortion is just for everybody who wants them, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely
like,
correct.
I feel like that would cause a lot of problems too.
Kyle, if we lived in a progressive society that actually did that, we would also do free birth control for anybody who wants it. We would do.
Well, no, I want to know what would be the problem if in this society today we pass a law and it just says abortion is totally free and accessible to anybody
for anyone
at any
who
time.
wants one, is what you said,
Yes.
Kyle. So what is specifically
anybody who wants an abortion?
Right now, as you're answering the question, you need to be identifying what's better about the society that doesn't give an abortion to somebody who wants one. That's the weight of what you're saying, Kyle. Deny someone an abortion who wants an abortion. Force that kid to be alive.
I want to know what's the problem with this society where everybody gets an abortion if they want one? What happens? What's the problem?
Well, I think, first of all, I want to clarify that before 20 weeks is what we're talking about, because after 20 weeks, that's a human life.
Why not?
So I do agree with that.
And yet I still wouldn't ban it legally. This was the point I already made.
I still disagree with that, but it doesn't matter.
I think there's more of a moral consideration for the individuals involved, but late-term abortions are the most important abortions to protect. Literally, because when you put the government in front of them, you literally are committing women who are trying to have late-term abortions are abortions of wanted kids, not unwanted kids. And they are happening for reasons of, hey, if you have this delivery because of this complication, not only will you be fucked up, or not only will the baby not survive, you are putting at risk your ability to have more kids. Hey, this kid developed without kidneys. That kid's going to drown on their own blood. And that's what late-term abortions are for.
That is understandable for the woman to go through an abortion because it puts her at risk.
And the medical industry already has laws and regulations that make sure that that's what's happening. Arbitrary abortions don't happen because that goes against doctor's oath to do no harm.
But but none of that's important. All I want to know is, you said if we just give abortions to anybody who wants one. It's important for the broader context, but I'm asking just this one question. Kyle, you said if we just give abortions to anybody who wants one, then you can see a lot of problems. I just want to know what problems you're talking about. What would be the issue with that if everybody who wanted an abortion had access to abortion?
First of all, there would be things that go wrong in the abortion. People would be getting, what do you call it? I don't know. I don't remember the term for it, but it's like when they get injured during the procedure.
Sure.
And
so that's a risk that comes along
after it happened.
So regret risk and injury during a procedure, and these are things that happen with any procedure ever. If you're going in for a medical procedure of any kind, you're going to have informed consent. You're going to have to sign some forms explaining the risks and the benefits and all these things. You're going to have a consultation with a doctor talking about all the things of the process. This is still an informed decision these people are making. And I guarantee you, an unwanted pregnancy is far more emotionally and physically traumatic than any, whatever the risk you're talking about here in terms of likelihood, and at least. So that we can set that aside because that's the same as anything else.
But also, Forrest, you're like, if you have an abortion, that means you won't end up delivering a pregnancy. Which has a higher risk of complications, an abortion or delivering a pregnancy?
Well, I just said that a second ago. I was talking about how abortion is far more physically and emotionally damaging, especially an unwanted pregnancy is far more emotionally and physically damaging.
I'm saying more like from the vaccine side. People will be like, don't give vaccines because a small number of people will have vaccine injuries. But the number of vaccine injuries are way less than the number of people who, if they get the disease, like COVID,
they die.
So Kyle, when you say there will be more injuries, the number of more abortion injuries will be way less than the number of delivery injuries that happen. Literally, the complications from deliveries is a way higher number, far more complications from delivering than abortion. So the total number of medical complications, injuries, and whatever would actually overall go down.
All right, well, if that's true, then I guess I can't really debate that.
Okay, but now Kyle, here's the next point.
I don't have a good reason for
here's the next point.
Say no.
You see that shit?
Hey Kyle, here's the next point.
Another one fell down. I just fixed this thing today, and I'm fucking losing my mind.
In countries where abortion is kind of like what you said, and a lot of them it is only up to a certain week, but we'll just go with 20 weeks, where anybody who wants an abortion can get them. Is the unwanted pregnancy rates, especially amongst teens, higher or lower in those countries? Not unwanted children, pregnancies in the first place.
Yeah, probably higher, and I think that's
incorrect. It's lower.
Sex.
It's lower. In countries where you have comprehensive abortion access for everybody, it's lower. There are lower unwanted pregnancies. There's even less abortions. The number one way you curb abortion rates is comprehensive sexual education, universal health care, and free access to birth control alternatives. And if you really want less abortions to happen, Kyle, prevent unwanted pregnancies before that by supporting those. The data is not subtle. We already know if you want less abortions, make abortions more accessible and make sexual education and access to birth control, both for men and women and everybody else, methods of contraception, free and widely available. And now you have, just for less than the cost on society, of people who, because if a person has a child before they're ready, the chances of them needing to rely on government assistance goes up. For less than the cost of that government assistance, you have prevented way more unwanted pregnancies.
I get that. But for me, the enemy is the casual sex. It's just sexualized everything nowadays.
Why?
Of all.
Why is that
Kyle, who cares?
Everything.
Why? Why is casual sex bad if everybody's consenting and being safe?
Well, let's say
as safe as they can
for
be.
one.
Being safe prevents STDs. Y'all, wear condoms, or if you're getting a casual sex arrangement, do a little medical screening. Make sure you're both in the clear. Boom, handle.
For real,
guess what percentage of people that actually does that though?
But that's not what the point you made was. I already said we live in a country without comprehensive sexual education. It's still the problem you're describing. If we had a comprehensive sexual education with consent education, we don't have that issue. And casual sex does not mean unsafe sex. Quite the opposite.
One of the sexiest things you can say when engaging in a sexual encounter is, my last STI screening was on this date and I was totally clear. I'm safe. We can do this. Like, dude, that's great.
Yeah.
Do you just see like squirrels going at it and call them sluts, or like, what are you doing, man? Fucking 4 billion years
no.
of raging hormones telling us to spread our seed, and you're sitting there going like, but guys, you shouldn't be doing it so much.
Was it not the fuck? Oh, who are these people? Are they American? I didn't expect to get in this quickly. They're from was it not the great American poets? Was it not the great American poets, the Bloodhound Gang, who once said, "You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel."
Yeah, that's correct. That's a correct quote from Forrest. I think it's just gotten too far. Everyone's sleeping with each other from the age of 16 on, and
what? I mean, why is that bad?
Have sex if you want to have sex. Like what's the problem if
not
they
with
are
16-year-olds if you're my age, but
right. But if
you invoking age is a totally different issue. Who cares?
Let's talk about only 18 plus, right? If we're talking about just only consenting adults, 2 or more consenting adults, everybody knows the risks, everybody knows what they're getting into, everybody's had an STI screening, everybody's being safe, whatever, and everybody in the room is just like, let's all fuck, and they just do what they want to do, and they all consent to it. What is the actual moral problem?
Kyle's not invited.
That's what it is.
I kind of think that's it, Kyle, that you don't feel like you can be that sexually liberated. Just because you find it gross, I'm not going to stop other people from doing shit with their feet. If that's what you want to do, do it.
I think it should be a special act between two people that love each other. That's just what it is.
Bro, it ain't even a special act sometimes between people who love each other. I love my partner more than I've loved anybody in my entire life. The other night, we were both almost asleep, and we had casual sex because we realized the way we were spooning, we were basically lined up for it. And without a word, it just kind of happened. I had casual sex with my partner. It's special in a way because it's with her, but also sometimes we're just like horny getting to meet with each other. We're like each other are just sex meat. Get your sex meat over here.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck are you talking? It's not even always special with your partner.
Okay, maybe I misspoke. When I say casual sex, I mean people that are not in a relationship.
Who cares?
Who cares about that either?
People having sex.
What if I don't?
What part?
Who cares?
What part of having casual sex with somebody because you met somebody at a club and you have a one night stand and it's all fun and you just want to be fuck meat like Jimmy's talking about, right? What part of that precludes you being able to then have a very intimate, special, emotionally charged, making love with someone in the long term? Like, what changes? What
expectations of the patriarchy is the answer, for the record.
Probably.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't know.
It is. Literally,
I don't know.
The reason you feel bad about it is you accept. He said he doesn't know. It is the answer. You have accepted a patriarchal culture that adds value to how much sex a person has, and by the way, weighs it differently, men versus women. That's where your "it's gross to have casual sex" hangups come from, unless you're like a fucking Jesus freak, and then it's just dumb shit.
Yeah, dude, Kyle, the best part about having casual sex is that you learn what you like. It's just like if you go to the gym and you exercise, you learn how to do it properly. You learn what things you're good at and what things you're bad at, what feels good for your body, what's bad for your body. You get better and better. And then when you go out and do some physically charged thing, play a sport, you do a competition of some kind, whatever, you now know your body and you're able to do things safely and productively. It's the same thing with this. You have casual sex. You learn what you like. You learn what you don't like. You get good at some things. You learn what you just don't want to participate in anymore. You learn what to expect from a partner. You get to enjoy it by messing it up and doing it well and badly and all the same things as everything else. And then when you find somebody who you want to be very special with, you now have the ability to communicate properly and weigh them against your other experiences and know if they suck at it or not. Like, that's all good things. There's no part of this that's bad.
I think the part of it that's bad for me is that once you accept it as just this casual thing, it's fun thing that doesn't hurt anybody, it becomes accepted, and it's not
good.
It's Where's the bad part? No longer inappropriate for people. Like, it's looked at from
it
children.
Shouldn't be.
It's on TV. It's in
No,
the
no,
music.
no. Don't invoke children. You don't get to
Is
invoke
it-
children.
No, that is
Nobody
the point,
is saying
though. It is the
casual.
point.
No, no, no. Shut the fuck up for a second. Casual sex between adults does not invoke children ever. There is no point of. No one is saying that two 30-year-olds who want to fuck, whether or not they even care what each other's political views are, what their history, they've consented to sex, has anything to do with, and now we go and expose it to children. Actual sexuality
it's on
should not be
commercials
exposed to
nowadays.
children.
It's everywhere you look.
But this is such cliche
humans-
bullshit. It has nothing to do with the fact that people are having sex with each other. It has the fact that we are, as a species, sexual. And those teenagers, there's different conversations to have. They have sex. And again, in countries where you give them comprehensive sexual education, they're having sex just as much as they are in America. But their unwanted pregnancy and STD rates all plummet compared to ours. So what you're describing about, yes, the sex I have with my partner, and we are both well into adulthood, should not be directly exposed to people who are not adults. They can't consent to participating with us. But the concept of we're going to pretend until you're 18 that you never have a sexual thought, me at 11 years old starting to jerk off vigorously would have something, would beg to differ.
Yeah, dude, it's so much better just to teach. If you're talking about, if we're gonna talk about kids here, like, it is so much better to teach what the world is and what's going on. And if you have a problem thinking about that, if I teach biology to preschoolers, I'm not going to go in there talking about fucking DNA methylation and epigenetic changes and remodeling of chromatin. I'm going to go in there and talk about, like, seeds turn into flowers, and this is what an animal is. Similarly, we're talking about sex education and you're talking about kids. You can teach a little kid, these are what your private parts are. And this is, if someone touches you here, you should talk to a parent. Like, these are good sex ed lessons for very young children. And then you scale it up the same way you scale anything else up so that they are at a developmentally appropriate level of education, learning how to be safe around each other, around their peers, around adults, around the internet. They need to know what safety is and the right terminology that's appropriate for their ages. None of that means you have to be fucking showing porn in a fucking kindergarten. That's just silly. Yeah. And for adults to have consensual sex whenever they want to have it, for consenting adults to do whatever they want to do behind closed doors, does not necessitate them taking that out into the world and showing it to kids. If you're talking about sex everywhere, you're probably talking about sex-charged scenes on TVs, which are, geared towards an adult audience, or in movies, which you have to buy a ticket to get in, and you can't do it at a certain age anyway. The internet is much more unregulated, but that's up to parents to have guidelines and to monitor their own children. All of this is you trying to have the state be the parent and tell kids what they're not allowed to learn at a certain, and seeing that it's just silly, dude. It's a weirdly puritanical thing.
Violence is a way bigger problem, by the way.
Right. It's a weirdly puritanical way to be. And at the end of the day, kids are exposed to sexuality all the time. If you teach kids what the words mommy and daddy mean, if they have parents, they are exposed to sexuality. You teach somebody what the word wife or husband is, they are exposed to sexuality. It doesn't have to be actual, like, penetrative sex in front of them. There are levels to this shit.
Yeah.
And all we're talking about
with
here,
old men and them tell me where my wiener gets to go.
And all we're talking about here is that adults consenting to sex and having sex whenever and however they want does nothing to endanger children or to change society in a negative way. It just means people are more free and more happy. And one of the cool things, especially as a biologist, one of the cool things of not being puritanical about sex is not being embarrassed to talk about it and enjoy it and to explore. We talked a minute about gender. Explore your sexuality, explore your fetishes, explore your kinks, explore your body. One of the best fucking Astroglide came up with one of the best slogans of any company I've ever heard. Let your mind wander and then your hands. I 110% encourage that for everybody. And I don't think that there's a single negative side to that, Kyle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem is, twerking on commercials and just embracing that sexuality, normalizing that kind of stuff. It makes everyone think that sex is everything. Like, life revolves around
what's the difference?
Sex. Whereas,
And so first of all, no, it doesn't. Second of all, you are adding sexual context to that. If somebody sees twerking there and they don't know anything about that, they're just going to think some funny people are shaking their butts, and that doesn't mean anything. It is you adding a sexual context to that. And you can demonstrate that by looking at a history of dances. Look back at Elvis, who I would not say is a very sexy guy, literally being arrested for wiggling his hips around because it was so sexually charged. You wouldn't think that showing Elvis to children today is a bad thing or a sexual thing to do. It's a cultural thing that you are sexualizing. And in doing so, you are the one sexualizing children. Because if I see a little girl wearing a bikini or a little child looking at a twerking commercial or something like that, I'm not worried about these kids and their sexual habits or anything like that. You are adding sexuality to this, and you are sexualizing these kids in their existence. That's your problem, not the kids' problem.
When I
Kyle,
see twerking, that's what I think about. I see.
Hey, Kyle, are you opposed to casual masturbation?
No, I'm not opposed to casual masturbation.
Yeah, this is my proof. You just this wasn't your actual issue in the first place, and this is why you moved the goalpost so far. Casual masturbation, what you're describing as far as culture goes, that just comes from the permission to experience sexual arousal culturally. So casual masturbation would have the exact same consequences you're claiming adults being allowed to have casual sexes. People would be making stuff culturally pushed toward engaging you wanting to masturbate to it, right? Porn and everything else. And so literally you've moved all over the place here. And then this most recent place you've moved to, because we were talking about casual sex before, we're just skipping over the fact that this would literally apply to any kind of casual sexuality, including autosexuality, including you whacking it, Kyle. Anyway, this call has gone on long enough.
Yeah, I think we're about the end. But
I wasn't trying to move the goalposts. So you guys are just making good points. So, I've taken what you guys have said, and I appreciate all your good points.
I appreciate you being attentive and listening and not dodging too hard on things like this. I think it's been a productive conversation, and I genuinely appreciate your call.
Yeah, this definitely changed my perspective on abortion and all those things that we talked about. I really do appreciate it. Really glad I have to talk to you, Forrest. Huge fan. Jimmy, you started the show, I believe, so fuck yeah for you, and, maybe we'll talk again sometime. Hopefully with Seth.
Hopefully so. Yeah, dude. Yeah. If you think we're wrong, think about it, and if you think anything that we didn't cover, if you think we're wrong about something, call us back.
Okay. Yeah, next time it'll be about morals, moral objectively, because I think we disagree on that thing too. So
probably so. Take care.
Bye.
Well, now I'm sad he wants to wait until Seth's on, because a deist is a moral objectivist. Make fucking sense.
Who knows?
Deism literally does not allow a god to issue morals. Oh, what the fuck?
I just want to point out, before that call, we literally were joking about 3 dudes talking about abortion, and then that's just what happened for 30 minutes. And also, I did quickly jot down this quote from this profound quote from Jimmy Snow. It's a characteristic of the living to lament about their lives.
Yeah,
that's a heavy thing to say.
Oh, thanks, man. I accidentally do a deep every now and then.
That's some miserable pile of secrets thing. You know what I mean? That's heavy.
For the record, I'm really looking forward to the comment section of people whining, and so I'm going to point out once again and outwoke them. You're an ableist sack of shit if you get upset when you see me eating salty foods, because I'm literally doing it in response to symptoms I am having. So fuck you in your fucking face.
I had to pop some fucking vitamin gummies because I'm extremely anemic and I'm feeling it, and so I was get some B12 in me. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, it's a bad time, and if anybody complains about us eating on stream, find something more interesting to complain about. That, and the people who complain about us saying we find a new filler word, please. You should get over your weird problems with language and stuff.
Do I do that?
No, I get comments on that all the time. Who knows?
I know I used to. I don't know. I've never put effort into stopping.
The stick up my ass isn't nearly big enough to care about it. Let's talk to Jay, who is a theist. Are we just not getting pronouns? What's going on? Who says science always backs up scripture. I got a lot to say about this. Jay, you're on the line with Forrest and Jimmy. How are you doing today?
What's up, dudes? I think my phone might die. I'm not sure. So we'll try to do this as long
Plug
as we
it in.
can.
Yeah, plug it. We want to talk to you about science. I especially want to talk to you about science.
Oh, wait
Sure.
I'm now anticipating I'm getting cut out of this one. Hey, how old are you, Jay?
You are?
I gotta
I'm
go
40
steak
plus.
somewhere. Okay, and we have. Oh, I'm no over. How many people we got watching right now?
Too many.
We got a lot. Hang on, I'm going to tell you in a second. We've got between the two streams like 2,500 people watching, and they are dying to know. Would you prefer that they refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
Probably best just to refer to me as a DNA-based male.
Right, but Jay, that's not a pronoun. Do you see how DNA-based male is 5 syllables? He, she, they. Those are all 1 syllable. And for their productivity, since they're in a text-based live chat, if we had simply just answered the question, we'd already be past it. So we'll just give it another shot here. Would you prefer that they refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
Well, it's a word game, so I'd prefer to be called a DNA-based male.
Would you prefer
I
to be referred to as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
No, I just want to be very, very clear. Jay, you called to talk about science. I'm a biologist. This is my jam. I'm all about it.
Awesome.
But I just find it very weird that you would expect people say, and then the DNA-based male said these things, and Forrest responded with this, but then the DNA-based male said, do you really, genuinely, no, just cut the bullshit for a second. You don't expect anybody to talk like that ever. That's really fucking stupid. So if you just want to tell us, do you use he, him pronouns, she, her pronouns, they, them pronouns, any other kind of pronoun? Or if you don't want to answer any of that, I would just take, can you tell me what a pronoun is?
Look, when I walk down the street and have an actual conversation, I don't refer to people, if I know them, I don't refer to them as, anything but their name.
Hey, Jay, so let's talk about what actually happened, Jay. I'm going to call you Jay. Do you remember what I first said?
Thank you.
Cool. Jay, what did I first say to you? What did I first say about this? I said we have 2,500 people watching. And in my home, whenever people walk in, I ask them to remove their shoes. I prefer their shoes not be over there. And a person usually goes, you know what? I'm in your home. I have access to your stuff. I'm going to do what you request of me. Right now, we're giving you access, and we're going to let you're going to get to say your shit to the 2,500 people that 8 years of work has gone to making sure when we go live, there's 2,500 people watching live. That's like a small stadium, dude. That's a lot of people. So as I invite you into my home and access to my resources, one thing I've noticed is people who won't engage it in good faith and just go, because it's not like, Jay, you and I don't know. The answer is he, but you just won't say it. And so I know because you won't engage it, you're not going to engage in good faith for the rest of the call. Because a person who engages in good faith recognizes where they are and goes, you know what? It's not my custom, but it's their custom over here. So to be polite, and since he asked very kindly and in no way attacking, and in no way saying, and you must accept trans people exist, just said, would you prefer the live chat refer to you as a he, a she, they, or something else? If you just engaged in good faith, I would have gone, oh shit, this caller has a potential to engage in good faith. Jay, I right now know already about you that you probably, almost certainly, are not going to engage the rest of this call in good faith. So would you like us to start over, reset, and go, Jay, we're going to be open to the idea that you're going to engage in good faith. And that's going to begin with you just simply saying your live chat can say, refer to me as a he, please.
I mean, like I said, my phone, I waited a while because I wanted the opportunity to talk to you both. I really don't want my phone to die.
Because you don't want to respect our customs, and so we can get to it as soon as you answer this. And I'm not even kidding.
Even customs, it's basic fucking grammar.
There are other calls that I will take myself off the call completely when the other Jay, who's already given pronouns, and let Forrest handle it alone if he's upset by this. I am literally not going to let you ask.
Call alone.
I'm not going to let you talk to Forrest about a single thing until you start engaging this in good faith and recognize where you are and engage our customs. And then I'll let you have them. But you're in our home. This is our place. And we would like you to know which one you would prefer the live chat refer to you as. Simple. It's very simple. Engage in good faith. And then we move on and your dying phone becomes less of a threat. So Jay, starting again from California, we have over 2,500 people watching in the live chat. Would you prefer that they refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
Well, I find it interesting that I mean, this is the first time I've called. Told your screener that. This is. I'm new to you both.
Yes.
New to where you. I don't know where you stand on everything. But
Sure.
Who is?
Would
Who is
you-
new to us?
Would you prefer
hold on, Jimmy. Jimmy, just really quick.
No, we said no.
Who's new to us? No, it's about this. Who is new to this show? Who's calling in for the first time?
Oh, I see.
this particular Jay is new to the show.
Yeah, and would you?
Okay,
and
so
I don't know.
So rather than using the word "I," which is a pronoun, you're going to refer to yourself as this particular Jay, and you want everyone else to refer to you as DNA-based male. So just to be clear, you are so stuck on this nonsense, non-issue that you are going out of your way to deny first grade grammar, and you expect us to think that you're actually going to talk about science and the Bible seriously?
Jay, I figured out how to accommodate you.
Sounds like you're full of shit, dude.
I figured out a way to accommodate you. I will adopt what you said is your preference instead of answering that as soon as you email me a copy of your sequenced genome.
There you go.
Or whatever DNA test, whatever DNA test proves you are in fact a male to me. Since you want to go on some factual biological thing, as long as you prove it at a level of science to me that you are in fact a DNA-based male, my email is dearmratheist@gmail.com. I will take it right now and we will move forward. But if you'd like the show to move on, and you would like us to actually just take your word for it, engage in good faith for the first time in this call. And Jay from California, would you prefer that we refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
Well, I appreciate that you called me Jay.
Oh, sorry, Jay. Sorry,
I don't.
You used a pronoun just then, so make sure not to do that because we're not doing pronoun. Remember, you're making this weird stance, so don't use a pronoun. Explain to Jimmy what the problem is.
That sounds too.
Yeah, no, I like Joe Vaughn's been doing this a lot more lately, and I'm gonna adopt it for this call. So Jay, you just said I. That's a pronoun. Let's explain why you don't use pronouns here.
Or answer. Well, first answer. Would you prefer that the live chat refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
I think it's self-evident. I mean, this is
no. I don't. No, interesting.
You said no. I mean, sorry, you said I again. If your answer is anything other than he, she, they, or something else, I'm just going to call you out every time you use a pronoun. Because a minute ago, I asked you to say the word I, and you said this particular Jay.
And now he's back to
which
I.
is the weirdest shit. And now you're using a pronoun again. You're using I. So don't use I, since we're not using pronouns. Let's go ahead and either tell us what your pronoun is, or we're not using pronouns at all, right? So he, she, they, something else, or you're just going to say no pronouns ever?
Let's just use Jay.
Okay, so we're not going to use any pronouns for this call whatsoever?
Oh, I'm going to still use pronouns, but you can't use pronouns for the whole call.
That's what I'm saying.
Jay?
That's what I'm saying. If every time you use a pronoun, I'm going to play that sound, I'm going to tell you what pronoun
and then you owe us
just
$10.
used.
You agree, Jay? Every time you use a pronoun, you owe us $10. And then we'll pause there. You'll send the $10 over Cash App or PayPal, and then we'll move on. Or Jay, would you like to share with us whether or not you prefer that the live chat refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else?
So stupid. Such a stupid thing to get hung up on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not hung up at all. I'd like to get to some real discussion.
There's I again.
I think you owe us, was that two of them? I think you owe us $20.
Yeah.
Jay, will you be sending that PayPal, Cash App, or how are you sending it?
Well, if you want a donation.
Sorry, that's a you. You is a pronoun, Jay. Jay, that was you. You said you weren't going to refer first names.
We're up to $40.
Remember? Yeah, Jay, you said you were going to do first names only. You should have said Jimmy said this.
Yeah.
You said you is a pronoun.
All right, last chance, Jay. Otherwise, we're moving on. I don't want a late show anyway.
Would you like to continue being a weird snowflake baby who can't handle first grade grammar? Or would you like to have an actual conversation about science with a scientist? What do you want to do, Jay?
Can you do the voice?
Well, let's open up the discussion.
Yeah, definitely, Forrest.
All the pronouns
right after you answer,
Forrest. All the pronouns that...
No, Jay, right after you answer, it's a single syllable answer.
Yeah.
Would you prefer that the live chat refer to you as a he, a she, a they, or something else? Put that on your soundboard and smoke it.
All of the above. All of them.
Hey,
Okay,
All
excellent.
you know
any.
what?
Excellent.
Though?
All in any.
That's an answer.
Thank you. Oh my
That's
God, Jay.
Any and all pronouns. So you're
Fuck
non-binary. Hey, Jay is
Gender
non-binary.
fluid Jay is calling in. Love
and we're
it.
cool with that.
Okay,
All
guys.
right.
Jay from California's on the line.
10
She is going to
miserable
ask.
fucking minutes.
She's going to
Otherwise,
ask
we're never gonna
Forrest. She's going to ask Forrest some science questions. Take it away, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, I want to know where. Let's say in the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Where are you both? As far as what percentage are you in alignment with the 10? Is it 10%, 20%? Is it 0%?
I'm definitely not in the first 4 in any case. So you should have no other gods for me. Fuck that. I don't have any gods at all. So like maybe that counts. I don't know.
Yeah,
Does
well-
being an atheist count as following the first commandment because I don't have any gods before God because I don't have any gods at all? Second one, not making idols. I don't give a fuck about that.
Literally,
I don't know what idols I'm
all
making.
the first 3 are just about God. Number 4
Well, that's
doesn't
what
make you
I'm
a
going
moral
through.
person at all.
That's
Number
what I'm going
5
through.
doesn't
I'm
make
going
you a
through
moral.
each one. I'm literally
It's
going
too
through them
slow.
one at a time. I don't care.
I thought we were getting
you
to the
shall not
science
take the
questions.
name of your.
Her phone's gonna
You
die.
shall not take the name God in vain. I don't care if her phone dies. She chose to waste fucking 10 minutes of her own time being a bitch about pronouns. We're gonna get into the thing now. You shall not take the name of God in vain. I don't care about that either because I don't care about this God. I don't think it's real, and I don't care about taking any names in vain. Fuck all that. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Christians can't even fucking decide amongst themselves which the Sabbath day is, and frankly, I don't give a shit. My life is too busy. I care about my work more than I care about any religious text. Honor your father and your mother is number 5. That is such a stupid fucking rule. What if you have abusive parents? What if your parents don't honor you? Whatever. I didn't pick my parents. I fucking probably wouldn't have. So like, I don't care about that at all. I dishonored them and I dishonored them during their lives and they dishonored me right back and it doesn't fucking matter. 6, thou shalt not murder. I don't do that one. I don't murder, but I didn't need some fucking Iron Age sex and slavery manual to tell me not to do it. Thank you very much.
Every modern society's
7,
figured out that, or not every
Yes.
every historical society with writing has figured
precisely.
out no murder.
7, you shall not commit adultery. Again, I don't commit adultery, but I didn't need anybody to tell me not to do that. I'm just a good husband. Number 8. And also,
hang on. Don't go past
polygamy?
7. I don't accept the biblical definition of marriage or adultery. So by the biblical definition, we
True.
probably both have committed adultery.
That
I
is
don't
also
accept
true. I look at women in lust and other people in lust all the fucking time. And
Also,
Jesus
I'm not
would say
married
that
to
I've committed
everybody I
adultery.
fucked or the first person I
That's
fucked.
also true. That is also true. And also, what about polyamorous people and shit? You know, it's just too ridiculous. Number
Like David
8,
and Solomon?
Number 8, thou shalt not steal. Again, didn't need anybody to tell me not to do that. I learned as a child that was the wrong thing to do. Didn't need some fucking bullshit book that justifies slavery and genocide to tell me not to do that. Don't
I don't
make
know. I've been
false
stealing your breath away.
Oh, damn. I know not to lie. That's fine. I don't need anybody telling me not to do that. And thou shalt not covet. I do think that jealousy and coveting is wrong when it goes out of hand, but a little bit goes a long way, and having some covetous nature in you makes you more competitive, and it makes you an achiever. It makes you want to go out and excel. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is the language in the Bible that talks about a neighbor's cattle, ass, and all these, and plow, or whatever the fuck it says, and wife, where it equates someone's wife as their property. I hate that language. So I would say I've got like maybe somewhere between like 40 to like 33% in alignment with 10 Commandments, and I could not give less of a shit about them because I don't believe this God is real, and if this God is real, I would never worship it in the first place because he's an asshole.
I murder like
Does that answer
crazy,
your
but I
question?
already know where this line of questioning is going, and I regret we gave you this amount of answer to it. Go ahead.
Well, no, because it's probably going to be the Ray Comfort line, like,
I know.
well, if you were a judge today, then blah, 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 which isn't what Jay
If you
called
ever
about,
told
which
a
means not
lie.
only, yeah, and if that is where it
Yeah, just
goes,
give it
then
to
that
Jay.
just
Just
means
give it
that
to Jay.
Jay,
That's not where I
Jay
think
not
he's got-
only
I don't think
doesn't
that's where
know
he's taking
pronouns,
it.
but is also a liar. We'll see what happens. Jay,
Okay,
does that
babe.
answer your question?
Okay, lady, go ahead, Jay.
I just wanted to see where you guys stood on that. So who's the higher percentage? Is it Forrest?
Forrest, yeah, I murder like crazy.
We had about the same answer, but Jimmy is actually a murderer. So, like, yeah, no, we'd have to say, yeah, probably me.
So about in the 30th percentile, let's say. For
No,
both
I'm
of
down
you.
at 0%. I'm constantly murdering dead ass while I commit adultery.
He does. It's
0%.
actually wild to see.
Yeah.
But I'd say, yeah, somewhere in the 30s, depending on
I'll
how
be
you slice
murdering
it.
an ass while like Like a nice car drives by and I go, ooh.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, what does this have to do with anything,
Okay.
Jay?
Well, like I said in the beginning of that question, is just wanted to see where you guys were, first time caller, and
Cool.
just gives me an idea where you're at.
Great. Now tell me what the
And,
principles of secular humanism
shit.
are and how close you are to adhering to them.
Well, all I can say is to back way up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the stories within the stories. Let's say in Scripture. That,
Oh, wait, Jay.
why
Excuse me,
science-
Jay. Excuse me, Jay. I just asked you a question, and it is a 1-for-1 question that you just asked us, and you're ignoring it. You asked us how we are adhering essentially to the religious principles of your book, and I have asked you in return, I am a secular humanist. Please tell me, the way Forrest did with you, what the principles of secular humanism are and how well you are adhering to them.
We want to know who
fucking
you are. You're a
rude.
first-time caller. We want to make sure we're on the same page.
I just want to know where
like
you are.
I probably very poorly.
Okay.
Oh, that's
But you
Or
don't know
totally
what the
adhering to
principles
that.
are. You don't know what the principles are.
because like the principles include things
know-
like truthfulness, integrity, trustworthiness. You know, they did altruism, charity. Like these are all. So if you're just way down the bottom of those, I care about
No.
that way more than whether or not
I mean,
you honor the name of a god.
But simply maximizing the well-beings of humans.
Well, it's impossible. I don't know where I am in the percentage myself of adhering to the 10.
Mhm.
Probably not as high as I would like to be. I think that's the case for everybody.
Because you
I guess
murdered
we
your
can all
father.
try.
We've all been
Well, I
there.
think hate in someone's heart is equal to murder, right?
No.
I
No,
mean,
you
it
don't.
is murder.
No, you don't.
Hate
You
in
don't-
someone's
you don't
heart
go
is
to-
equal to murder. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't go to
believe that.
you don't go to
That's the
jail
thing. It's
for
a-
it, or
Do you know what I
suffer
think
any
is equal to
No,
consequences
murder?
unless you act on it.
I think Jay.
I think
Jay, I
murder
think
is
that's
equal to
something that you-
murder. It's kind of
Yeah,
one of those
I think
things.
that's something. I think that's something you probably heard in church or from
Yeah.
some preacher who convinced you that he was holier than you, and it was a he. I know that. And you thought that was a really beautiful thing to say and a really moral thing to say. But at the end of the day, Jay, if I actually seriously were to tell you that I actually genuinely murdered someone, I was walking on the street, there was this old man there, didn't like his face, pulled out my pocket knife, stabbed him up real good. I don't think that you would treat me the same as if I were to tell you, man, I really hate that guy. I genuinely don't think that you would actually seriously be as concerned with my presence and my existence and my behavior if I said, man, I fucking hate Donald Trump. I can't stand him, whatever. I don't think
Call the
you're going to
Secret
behave
Service.
as if I was telling you, no, for real, I fucking flayed a guy alive in my fucking garage one time. I just cut him up. It was horrible. Great. I bathed in his blood. It was beautiful. I think you're full of shit, Jay.
Would that have been in your past, let's say?
Well, everything
I
that I
mean,
would tell
is
you that
it
I've ever done would absolutely be in my past necessarily.
No, it's in my future. I see the future.
I'm going to go kill
for some
someone
people-
as opposed to I'm going to go hate someone. I don't think you would seriously
I
weigh
feel
those
bad because I'm
decisions.
clearly not taking this call seriously because it was
I'm getting
started
one.
in
It's
such
like-
good faith, bad faith rather, and we're still there, and she doesn't even realize
I
it.
guess it's like it's Emo Phillips. Like he said, he wanted a bike when he was a kid, so he prayed for one, and his friend told him that's not how God works. He said, so I stole someone's bike and asked for forgiveness. I mean, I guess it's similar to that, but
Not really at all. That has nothing to do with anything. And also, we're still not talking about science, which is what you said you wanted to talk about, science in the scripture and how science always backs up scripture, which it very clearly doesn't. And also, shout out to the
Yeah, it
people in
always-
the chat pointing out that I have skinned a lot of people and had my hands inside a lot of dead bodies. That's neither here nor there, y'all. That is true, but that's not what we're talking about. I didn't kill those people. I
Hashtag
just cut them
technically
up.
true.
Right?
yeah, I mean, the reason why I called just to proclaim that science always backs up Scripture, doesn't disprove Scripture. They're in alignment together. True science, observable science.
Let's start with Genesis.
Oh, he just said it. Observable science. How old do
Yeah,
you think the
of
Earth is,
course.
Jay?
What's that?
How old is the Earth? Want to make sure we know who we're talking to.
If I'm a young Earth or an old Earth? I'm
The
definitely
Earth.
whatever
We are,
you
we are
believe in.
sat upon an Earth right now. How old is it?
It's young. It's
Okay.
young. Probably no more as what the science shows. Probably
Mhm.
no more than 7,000 years. As
Oops,
we all
sorry,
have
that's
the
not what the
same
science
data.
shows, Jay. Sorry, Jay, that's not what the
It's not.
science shows. The science
Well,
shows
he
it's
did.
billions of years old.
Well,
No,
I just want to be
science-
clear.
The science proclaims. So the
Uh-huh.
science proclaims whatever it proclaims.
Mhm.
The two different viewpoints come to the two different conclusions from the science.
No.
That's the difference.
No. So
Yes.
what Jay's talking about here, because this is something that's I don't know how familiar you are with it, Jimmy. You do the debates, but I don't know if you do the same things looking at the same awful
very
material that I do. Yeah. Okay. So what he's talking about here, for those who aren't familiar, for those in the audience, when Jay said historical science or observational science or whatever the hell the terminology is, this is a line used by places like Answers in Genesis and the Discovery Institute and all these other apologetics groups that are pseudoscience that do not teach actual science. And what they do is they try to say that observational science or real science is anything that you can observe start to finish and cannot be interpreted through your worldview. Meanwhile, historical science or non-observational science is anything that you can't see the whole thing, and therefore you have to have this worldview interpretation on it. And all us evolutionists and whatever, we're just applying basically a religious framework to the data. The problem with that, Jay, is that even your scripture, I was going to go through Genesis with you, even your scripture goes against science that you agree with. And also, if that is how we're actually slicing up science, then things like, well, let me just ask you, just straight up, do you believe that the planet Pluto orbits the sun? Or it actually is not a planet, probably. Do you believe that the dwarf planet Pluto orbits the sun, Jay?
I haven't studied about Pluto. If it's in alignment with a rotation, then I would say yes. But I've never studied the rotation of Pluto.
I'm not asking about the rotation, I'm asking about its orbit. We've known that Pluto exists for less time than it takes for it to go around the sun, which means, strictly speaking, the orbit of Pluto is historical science. Do you believe that saying that Pluto orbits the sun is a faith-based religious claim or a scientific claim based on the mathematics of orbital dynamics, and we don't have to watch it go all the way around the sun? We can do the math and figure out that it does.
Yeah, the same way as with the light that travels or Pangea that's split apart. It's the timing that is off. It's the same thing as saying like a brain you were talking about earlier. A brain is beyond a supercomputer, and to say that a less mechanical device like a watch can assemble itself, you just give it time. Throw time at it. Throw millions of years.
Man,
throw billions.
I love being a debater for a living, so people can say what I say. Hey, tell me what I say real quick, Jay, lady. Which version of the Bible do you use?
I use online blb.org. It's I go back into the Hebrew. Go back into Greek.
I'm asking you like blb.org, but I'm asking you which version of the Bible do you accept the King James version, the New International Version? Which one do you use?
For the most part, I go to New King James is the one I like to refer to, and Hebrew.
I promise I'm going to let you get back to it, but I remembered something, and I want to. Do you have your New King James Version on it, real quick?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Yeah, would you pull up John chapter 18, verse 6 for me? And read it to us?
Yeah. I'm sorry, 6 what?
Chapter 18, verse 6.
Oh, 18:6.
Sorry, everybody. It's a little bit of a distraction. I don't care what young Earth creationists have to say about science.
When you're done with this,
once you're done, I'm going to go and start my grill and let you do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, I have a couple other things I want to ask Jay.
Yeah.
Because he's literally going through like
To me now,
Answers
it's
in
like
Genesis.
engaging QAnon people. When they call in, I usually just let them say their dumb shit and just let it ride as it is.
The fact that he went from brains to literally the actual watchmaker argument of like a watch can't assemble. It's literally this is it's like I'm talking to fucking Ken Ham.
Yeah, we're getting the Gish Gallop It's like a slow Gish Gallop. It's crazy. Could you read that
crazy.
verse for
John
us real
18,
quick? Yeah. Would you read that for us?
Now, when he said to them, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground.
Why is Jesus okay with telling us his pronouns, but you're not?
Well, I thought the update was using all and every one of them.
Yeah, I know, but you and I both know you're not gender fluid and that you do have a preference. So why are you better than Jesus? Jesus literally said, introduce himself by his pronouns. You said earlier, it's obvious when you're walking down the street. You're a motherfucker before even saying his name.
Mm-hmm.
Literally doesn't tell him that's his name for a few more verses. Starts off this transgender Christ telling everybody his pronouns.
You don't
first
remember
thing
the part
all.
of the Bible where Jesus said, "I am DNA-based male"?
There's got to be like Revelations, right?
Yeah,
Is that Galatians? What's that? That's Thessalonians?
I mean, I mean, obviously, 2,000 years ago, none of these liberal talking points or these liberal paint people into a corner, none of this stuff existed.
Did Jesus Christ have a penis? Hey, Jay, did Jesus Christ have a penis?
He created it.
Jesus Christ created a penis. Then why did he need to?
He created all of them.
Wait, if he can create a no, Jesus Christ himself, not our penises. Jesus Christ was born biologically, correct, from Mary?
Yeah, well, that's...
Where did the DNA...
Well,
where did the DNA come from for his penis?
Where did the DNA come from to make him? If his mother through the line of
him
Judah.
And his penis. Right, but there's no male DNA. Excuse me. A wiener usually comes from the expression of the SRY gene, which is carried on the Y chromosome. Okay, so there was no Y chromosome because Jesus had no father. So Jesus has to, at best, if somehow Mary was able to give birth, could only have had the potential to give birth to a biological clone of herself. Therefore, Jesus had a vagina, and now we know from John 18:6, gave pronouns of he, him. So when you say nobody had heard about this shit, that's really sad, because Jesus, who is clearly a transgender man, would have potentially gotten some social support if people would have understood.
Wouldn't you say that he was the first one to be on your side with
no transgender people existed?
You said he had no
transgender
dad.
People existed way before Jesus.
True.
You said he had no dad, but he had two dads.
That's literally the book. He has no biological father. He is born of a virgin woman, correct?
Not correct. He has a father that gave the DNA.
Wait, are you saying a God with all of the knowledge of the universe who is infinitely old literally impregnated? Literally impregnated? So now we're going to your God is a fucking child rapist, which I already was on board with. She was 14 years old, my guy.
That's rough.
Sex nonwithstanding, if somebody was unconsciously impregnated, they didn't actually experience anything, they feel no discomfort, you'd still consider that woman raped. This woman was impregnated at 14 years old. She's not old enough to consent to the oldest living entity in all of existence. So, Jay, these are your choices. Was Jesus transgender or is God a rapist?
Jesus was all God and all man wrapped up into one.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's also not an answer to the question.
No, of course it doesn't. I mean, this kind of goes back to the whole science discussion of I mean, you can back up all the way to the tree. Mm-hmm. You can back up all the way to the tree in the Garden of Eden.
Why do you like talking to other creationists? Like, I understand you like talking to the other people who at least acknowledge the age of the Earth. And I want to talk to Jay. Everybody's using the same science. The conclusion's just what's different, and that somehow makes them equally legitimate. Why do you like talking to these people?
I think it's really funny because what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask Jay a couple of questions about the science that he claims to believe in and show that he actually doesn't even know what the fuck he believes on.
I'll listen. I'll put it on my phone and I'll listen. Okay. That sounds good. Okay, bye, Jay. Sorry that your God's a rapist or that Jesus is transgender.
I am curious to know, because like, you're talking about going all the way back to the tree in the Garden of Eden, and I'm just curious to know, did plants come about before the sun or after the sun in science, Jay?
I mean, I'd have to look back at Genesis and see how that's all laid out. But
well, I can read it to you right now in Genesis 1:1, or sorry, Genesis chapter 1 right here. It says, this is the third day. The earth brought forth grass and herbs yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit whose seed was in itself. After this, God saw that it was good. In the morning and the evening and the morning were the third day. So in the third day, God creates all the plants and all the trees and all these things. And then it says in chapter verse 16, God made the true great lights, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars also. And God made the firmament in heaven, and blah blah blah. And that was the fourth day. So in Genesis 1, God makes all the plants before He makes the sun, the moon, and the stars. Do you think that lines up with science backing the scripture?
Well, if you look at Genesis 1:3, when He says, "Let there be light," that came before He did anything else.
Right, but I didn't ask about light. I asked about the sun.
The sun is light.
Okay, so then you think that when the Bible says in Genesis 1:3, God made the light, and that is the sun, and then in verse 16, it says, and then God made lights to rule the day and the night, and that was the fourth day. He made the sun again? Or is there a different light that rules the day besides the sun?
I think light in general is all-encompassing. It encompasses all the stars. Every light we see that travels at whatever scientific rate of speed it travels today, this is what I'm saying, the data that speaks the truth, it's coming to a different conclusion through different viewpoints from people.
Okay, from my viewpoint, but we agree here. We agree here because we're gonna get into historical science in a minute. Like, you're saying that He made the sun, and then He made plants, and then He made different lights that rule the day, and that was also the sun, but not the sun. I just want to know when God made the sun. Was it before or after plants?
Going in order here from order of arrival, this is saying light arrived before anything else.
I didn't ask about light. I asked about the sun.
The sun is light. The sun is part of the light.
The sun produces light through nuclear fusion, but I'm asking, was the sun as a physical object in space, did that exist before or after plants started to exist? Are you seeing this thing fall down? I'm going to fucking lose it on this thing over here.
Before plants.
Okay, so we don't believe what it says in Genesis chapter 1. But you do believe what it says in Genesis chapter 2, though. Because in Genesis chapter 2, it says something very different. Do you think plants came about before or after humans, Jay?
I would have to, like I said, I would have to read Genesis 2.
Well, in Genesis 1, it says in verse 12 here that God made all the plants, and then He goes on to make the true great lights, and then He makes every creature. He makes all the animals, and that goes on for a little while. And then in verse 26, He says, "Let us make man in our image," and He goes on to make humans. So He makes light, and then He makes all the plants, and then He makes the sun, the moon, and the stars, and then He makes people. That's Genesis chapter 1. Do you agree with that order of events, more or less? At least with the humans?
Without reviewing it, I'm going to go with where you're headed to. I mean, if that's the arrangement, then sure.
Where I'm headed to is chapter 2. Because in chapter 1, He makes the sun, He makes the plants, and He makes the sun, the moon, the stars, and then He makes humans. In chapter 2, it says here in verse 7, God formed from the dust of the ground all the beasts, breathed into His nostrils the breath of life, and He makes the first living soul, and then He makes Eve there with the ribbon. And then the next thing is that it says that there are no plants because it hasn't rained yet. And so then in verse 9, out of the ground, God made every tree and pleasant to the sight, and to make the garden and all the plants. So I'm just curious to know if humans came before or after the plants, because just like with the sun, the Bible says both. So I'm just curious to know which one you believe in and which one science backs.
Well, I guess isn't this similar to like Abraham Lincoln, where science doesn't prove Abraham Lincoln ever walked on the earth? Isn't this the same?
That's another
we just have a
weird
historical event here.
Another weird creationist talking point that is not what I'm talking about. Did God make animals out of the ground, specifically birds? Did God make birds out of dirt or out of water, Jay? And which one does science back? Birds coming out of dirt or water?
Dirt or water? A man was made from dirt.
I asked birds. Birds. Were birds made from dirt or water? And which one is backed by science?
I mean, we're trying to go in sequence here in Scripture, and so I didn't write any of this
that's
down.
That's not a sequence thing.
What's
that's
the
not
sequence?
A sequence thing. That's just where they come from. Because in Genesis chapter 1, it says that in verse 24, God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creature after its kind, cattle and creeping thing, the beast of the earth after its kind." God made the beast of the earth after its kind, cattle after their kind, every creeping thing. God said it was good, and then it makes blah blah blah. Let's see here. Where does it say fucking birds in this shit? In chapter 2, here we go. Out of the ground, the Lord God made the beast of the field and the fowl of the air, and brought them to Adam to see where they come from. So he makes them out of dirt in that part. In chapter 1 here, it says he makes them out of water. Oh, pardon me. I apologize. I read the wrong verse. That's my bad. Chapter 1, verse 21. God created great whales and every living thing that moveth out of the water, which brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after its kind, and God said it was good. I apologize, Jay, that was my mistake. I read the part about beasts, not the part about fowls. So in chapter 1, verse 21, God makes birds, every winged fowl after its kind, out of the waters of the ocean at the exact same time that he makes whales on the 5th day. And then he makes the rest of the animals the next day, on the 6th day. But then in chapter 2 here, it says in verse 19, out of the ground, the Lord God made every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them to Adam so that Adam could name them. So in chapter 1, God makes birds out of the water. In chapter 2, God makes birds out of the land. And I'm just curious to know which one of those is true and which one of them is backed by science.
Can they both be true?
Well, no, because it says specifically every fowl in both of those cases. So it doesn't say some here and some there. In both of them, it says he made every single bird out of the water. And then the next verse says every single bird out of the air. And also, this is in different order of events because in chapter 1, this all happens before he makes Adam. And he also says he makes Adam and Eve together. And then in chapter 2, this all happens after he makes Adam, but before he makes Eve. Because he makes Adam, and then he makes all the animals, and then he makes Eve in that order in chapter 2. But in chapter 1, he makes all the plants, all the animals on 2 different days beforehand, and then makes Adam and Eve at the same time afterwards. Again, I'm just asking which one of these is science back, and which one is true. Because you said science always backs Scripture. And I'm just curious to know, these are not only contradictory scriptures, but neither one of these are backed by science. So I'm just curious to know what we're talking about here.
Sure. Does Genesis 1:21 say, so God created the great sea creatures, every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded? Or does it say from the waters that abounded?
It says,
meaning,
I'm going to read it directly. Mine's the King James Version, so the language is a little weird. But it says here, God created great whales and every creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly. So it is the waters themselves that are bringing forth these animals after their own kind, and every winged fowl after his kind, and God saw that it was good. So he's making these things come out of the water, which sounds a lot like evolution, but not quite in the right order.
Okay, so macro or microevolution?
Well, in this case, it would be extreme macroevolution, which isn't supported by the fossil record in the way that it's describing here. But that's also not the point. I'm just asking which of these happened first and whether or not they came out of water or earth. Because the next one, again, I'll read the exact line here. And And out of the ground, Lord God formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. So, in this verse, it says, out of the ground, God formed every fowl of the air. And the other one, it says, every living creature which moved with which the waters brought forth abundantly, and every winged fowl after its kind. So again, did the birds come from the water or did they come from the ground? And which one is backed by science? That's the only thing I want to know.
Why can't it be both? I guess that's what I'm asking. Why it can't be both?
Because the Bible doesn't say that it's both. And also because that wouldn't be backed by science, either one of them.
Would instant light from millions, billions of light years away appearing, that's not backed by science either. The rate at which the light moves today,
that would violate everything we know about relativity, and it would rip the universe in half.
Yes. Now, Pangea splitting apart as is declared in the days of Peleg and Nimrod, that generation it clearly says that's when the earth was divided. So that's not science-backed either, because it moves at the continents drift at a certain rate of speed today. So obviously this is where the word miraculous comes in, to have instant light, to have Pangea move in one generation. And it names which generation it happened in, happens to be the one where everyone got their own language and their own people group. And like I said, this backs up the science of peoples on the earth.
How do you know?
You can go down the Ice Age route, but...
Just out of curiosity, Jay, how do you know that when it says the earth splitting and all that stuff, it was talking about Pangea and not any of the other times that there have been supercontinents like Pangea? Because there have been like 6 or 7 times that all the continents of the earth have been united and then split apart. So, like, how do you know it was talking about Pangea and not one of the other times that happened? Is it maybe because creationists like to talk about dinosaurs as if that's like the only fucking old thing that we talk about?
I don't know about that, but I mean, as far as the science goes versus the miraculous event, I don't know of any other event other than Pangea of any other supercontinent.
There have been plenty.
And as far as,
and the reason you don't know about it is because it's not a popular creationist talking point, which is literally all you've been giving me this entire call, is just some shit you heard Ken Ham say. And Ken Ham doesn't talk about this other stuff because he doesn't know about this other stuff.
Yeah, but isn't the science? It's been learned. It's been written in books. But wasn't the science of this earth already there before anyone discovered it and wrote anything about it? It's similar to like math equations. Weren't those already in existence?
So you're using the word science here to describe... Wait, Jimmy. You're using the word science here to describe just the natural order of things, the laws of nature, the history of the world. Yes. Science is a process by which we discover things about the universe. It's a way of investigating the universe and asking questions that lead to actual new answers and make novel, testable predictions that prove that those answers are actually right and not just superstition or faith. Science is a work that we all do together. It is a way of learning things. So yes, before humans ever came along, before any scientists were out here asking questions, all these facts about reality were already out there. Things had already been happening. It took us discovering them and writing them down for them to just to then be able to communicate them the way that we're doing today. But we don't believe in scientific facts and theories and shit because somebody wrote them in a book. Science is changing all the time. We're constantly trying to prove ourselves wrong. And when we do that, we develop new theories, paradigm shift, and that's how everything gets better. That's why when you get sick today, Jay, you're not going to go use leeches to suck your blood or try to balance your humors. You're going to go to a modern doctor who uses our understanding of things like evolution to make better medical science work. So science, of course, did not exist before humans did, but reality did. And what you're giving me here is just talking point after talking point after talking point of people like Discovery Institute and Answers in Genesis who don't do science. They have statements of faith, which claims that if it's not in the Bible, they don't believe it. And if it doesn't go along with the Bible, they won't accept it, no matter what the evidence says. They don't gather evidence and come to a conclusion. They decide what they want to believe, and they look for evidence to back it up. And when they find evidence that goes against it, they just say that that evidence is wrong, and they call it, as you say, historical science, and pretend that it's a faith-based claim. It is not real science. It is not real thinking. These people are charlatans, grifters, and mountebanks who are trying to indoctrinate you into their cult so that you give them more money.
The stories within the stories in Scripture were there before anyone discovered them as well. I mean, we can look at the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I mean,
they have also been massively interpreted and stolen and rewritten and reimagined. Lots of parallels from the Bible with other religions. And also, nothing that you can point to in the Bible that you don't have to interpret in the way that you're talking about right now. When the Bible talks about everything being made of very, very small things, and people talk about, oh, that might be atoms. First of all, that idea already came about from Democritus over 1,000 years before the Bible was fucking written. And second of all, like, that's just your modern interpretation. We scientists found that shit out and gave you that knowledge, and now you are bastardizing it to fit into your book. Same thing with the Earth breaking up. Guarantee you go back a little while ago, plate tectonics wasn't really discovered and wasn't found as a theory until the 60s, I think. So you go back to the early 1900s, late 1800s, ask somebody what they mean about the Earth breaking up, they're not going to talk about it the same way you are. That is a faith-based claim. You are doing what you're accusing scientists of doing and interpreting data to fit your faith, not to fit what the actual data actually show.
Well, both sides do that. That's what I'm trying to say is they take the data according to their faith and their viewpoint.
No, we fucking don't, Jay. And if that was the truth, if that was what we were doing, then you would not have the history of science as we have it, where, as I said earlier, we overturn our paradigms and change things. Take a look at just my field in biology. Go back all the way to Nicola Steno, who pulled up tungstones and said, these triangular rocks, I think, are shark's teeth. It wasn't for another couple hundred years when Cuvier came along and suggested the idea of extinction for the first time that we took that concept seriously. It was a massively controversial idea, and it was because of the work of great scientists like Mary Anning and George Buffon and shit, coming up with these concepts step by step, suggesting that maybe life is able to go extinct. If we were going based on faith, then we would have stuck to the worldview of that time, the scientific worldview that we existed on a great chain of being, a hierarchical order of all matter and all life, and we would not have changed our minds and decided that extinction was possible, which you now agree with, Jay. I know you believe in extinction. That is a modern scientific idea that contradicts the Bible and goes against the biblical teachings and was fought against by scholars and theologians alike for a very long time. We gave you this scientific understanding. We changed our minds. We went against everything we thought was true about the universe. Go back to Hubble, discovering the expansion rate of galaxies and Hubble's constant. We changed what we thought we knew about the entire fucking universe because the truth was more important than faith. You are the one who is misinterpreting scientific data to back your worldview.
It will keep changing too. I mean, it's like the Jehovah's Witness congregation. They keep changing their stuff, and because they're not going by Scripture. And
Jay,
you go back to
the difference is, Jay, we are getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the accurate numbers. When we talk, for example, about the age of the universe, and we talk about how it's 13.8 billion years old, you go back a couple of decades, it was 14 billion years old. We're talking about a change in a decimal place. We're arguing about getting it closer and closer and closer to the truth. We're not changing our minds and saying suddenly, actually, you know what? Maybe the universe it's actually 50 million years old, and this person says it's 40 billion, and we just have this we have to decide who we believe. No, we go by data. We go by evidence, and we change our worldview to match the evidence. You change the evidence to match your worldview. And I can prove it to you right now. Jay, can you prove to me? No, you're not. And also fucking sex.
Plus, I only have 3 minutes. I'll have to flip my food.
Jay, can you prove to me that you are related to your own grandparents?
Through DNA testing?
Right, but that's not observational science. No one, including you, has ever watched the entire life of your grandparents and your parents to produce you. You're basing this on DNA testing, which is not actual observational science. You're using evidence to build up something that happened generations ago. Yeah. Is that a faith-based claim that you're related to your grandparents? Or do you think that modern science can prove it?
It's a two-way street for both of us. I mean, both sides have the same problems.
No, we fucking
don't. Jay, you fundamentally don't understand what just happened. He's explaining he can prove because of science that you are a descendant of your grandchild, that you, based on the standard you've given, your grandparents rather, that based on the standards you've given, you can't. Hey, but Jay, honestly, I feel like having listened to your all soiree while I was getting meat on the grill that I'm gonna have to flip in a minute, that we just basically wasted a scientist for like 20 minutes on somebody who heard everything that is totally does not support his worldview, and he just goes, yeah, that all works still. That all works fine. So I think we should skip that. I think we should just go all the way back to your worldview. You believe a God exists and he's made himself known. I don't. Why should I believe that?
You should believe because of the stories within the stories written before they even took place. And I don't mean a
in
wild
Hinduism?
guess.
Wait, I should believe in wait. I should believe in Hinduism because what you just said applies to Hinduism.
If Hinduism has a leader that was foretold hundreds of years before.
Hinduism has tons of prophets. Hinduism has tons of prophecies that came to life. And by the way, so do many religions. And wait, you said if they have a prophet who's born of a virgin, can you please present the virgin to prove to me that he was ever born of her? I can't test that with observational science or anything.
Well, that's why we're on a two-way street. I mean, you can't take science to prove Abraham Lincoln ever lived and walked on the earth. You have to use faith and history.
Sure can.
And
sure can. Sure can use science to prove it. And listen, even if what you're describing is at a certain point, you have to have confidence that the way the earth works now is the way the earth works back then. The justification of that confidence versus magic, which is what you believe in, is much, much higher. However, that isn't the case. We have a cumulative case we can make for Abraham Lincoln, including definitive science, including his current existing body. We'd literally be able to look at his bones and determine whether or not he was ever literally walking, because the bones of people who never walk versus do walk form differently. So as far as the conclusions we make, the justifications for making those conclusions, you're basically, Jay, this is where you're at with this. You're basically saying that if all of my stuff is faith-based just because it is not compatible with any way we see the world exist now. We do not see magic exist now, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen in the history. And if you're saying you doubt that, the next thing we should question is the very existence of the universe. And if gravity was always there, because, we know gravity's here today, but if magic tricks aren't here today, what you're saying that means they weren't here in the past. So that means just because gravity's here today, we shouldn't assume it wasn't in the past. It's literally the most narcissistic, arrogant position in the world that we go, hey, here's the reported history. Here's all of the science. Here's all the ways it works. It fits together crazy well. And the amount of data and evidence is a mountain that this is the way things went. And then you sit there and you go, right, but I've got a magician who came out of an untouched pussy. And you can't present the magician. You can't present the pussy. And we go, there's no untouched pussies that gave birth. There's no magicians. Okay, those don't exist. And you're like, well, you're saying they don't exist in the past because they don't exist in the present. So why should I believe that fish existed in the past just because they exist in the present? You are the absolute narcissism of Christianity, the systemic narcissism that you must believe that contrary to what the universe is showing you, you are well reasoned in your doubt. Jay, I've got bad news for you. Your God, I'm not just saying I don't believe exists. He doesn't exist. He does not. You have committed the 52 years of your life to a lie. And you cannot defend it except to try and lie and misrepresent your opposition and go, well, we have the same problem. Well, if you genuinely believe that, I wish there was some sort of eternal wager we could put down. But the problem is when you die, you're not going to find out. You're just going to be dead. There's no finding out after you're dead. So I don't even get to win the wager. You've done nothing here, Jay. You've done nothing here. You have nothing.
Aren't all three of us operating on the same faith and historical evidence of Abraham Lincoln? None of us have ever done the tests.
I have zero faith.
No, Jay. Because when you get an actual fucking science education, you learn how these tests work. You learn how rigorous these different fucking fields are. And so even areas that I'm not trained in, like history, I'm not an historian. I don't know what the fuck that's not measured. I know how rigorous their work is. And so I can trust those people without putting faith in their claims.
Have they ever proven to you through testing and a thesis that Abraham Lincoln, here's the evidence of his life on Earth, here's his family members?
I can gather that evidence for myself.
Right, but I'm just guessing that none of us have done that. We've always accepted, just like we've accepted gravity. We can't explain gravity, but we can accept it.
Yes, we can.
It's the same way God is.
We can explain gravity. And that's the thing. You don't have to accept things if you actually care enough about them to actually look into them a little bit. When you're getting an actual science education, you actually learn how to test the force of gravity and whatnot, how to test the speed of light and whatnot, how to explain these things, how we learn what we learned about these things. It's not just, here's the fact, you better know it. It's actually an education where you learn not only what we know, but how we know what we know and how to verify these things for yourself. You can literally prove shit like the speed of light with a fucking microwave and some fucking cheese, dude. I get, like, at the end of the day, what you're presenting to me is the same ignorance that I get from fucking flat earthers who tell me, well, you can't prove to me that the same force of gravity today in your lab works in Egypt 3,000 years ago. It might be different gravity. It might be different thing. Bullshit. It's absolute fucking just stupid arrogance, like Jimmy.
Isn't the tree story of Adam and Eve eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, knowing they were naked? I don't know what the fruit was. People think it's an apple. The symbol of man's fall.
Probably a pomegranate.
All over
Adam and Eve never existed. So what is the point of this?
It's just a story, but let's just look at the story of,
not in your Bible. It's not just a story. Why am I hearing my audio back so weird?
In that symbolism, people have iPhones, they have iPads. That symbol of the man's fall is all over the place. First,
no, it's not.
Computer by Mac.
It wouldn't even matter if it did. The symbolism of apples and man's fall, not only is it quote unquote, you go all over the place, it also exists in religions that existed prior to Christianity and to Judaism. Commonality of symbolism exists because humans aren't honestly that deep. We're only deep relative to each other.
It's also important to point out that it only exists because Christians force it into a bunch of different fucking places. And if you want to talk about, like, these legends of where humans came from, I mentioned earlier fucking Robin Wall Kimmerer in her book. She explains the Potawatomi creation story, which I think is a much better representation of actual science and what it shows about human evolution and where we come from. Jay's phone finally fucking died, so we're free of that shit. But literally all Jay has been saying this entire time is the same talking points from Answers in Genesis, that all we're doing is making faith-based claims that fit our worldview, and we're just which, first of all, glad you agree with me that faith is bad, and that faith is not a reliable pathway to truth, and that faith-based claims aren't trustworthy. Glad we agree on that. And also, no, we're fucking not. You have a fucking Bronze Age sex and slavery manual that you are forcing everything to try to fit into while ignoring mountains of evidence that doesn't fit your faith. Meanwhile, the history of science is us knocking ourselves off of our own pedestal over and over and over again. Does that mean we never get shit wrong? Of fucking course not. We get shit wrong all the time, but we're fucking tough enough to admit it and correct for it and change our minds when better evidence comes along. Jay and the people, the fucking liars and charlatans and grifters and cultists at Answers in Genesis and the Discovery Institute and whatnot, all they can do is say, well, you know, if you squint your eyes at this and don't think about it too hard, kind of sounds a bit like Jesus. And that's all you fucking got. It's lazy, it's arrogant, and it's fucking pathetic. But at the end of the day, what can we expect except for this kind of shit from somebody who took 10 goddamn minutes to cover basic first grade grammar? What the fuck is a pronoun? From you know, biologically based male J, whatever the fuck, or DNA based male J, and this particular J. Fuck off, dude. Get fucking real. It's so lazy. It's so unbelievably lazy. Thank you to the phone. Shout out. VIP in this call was Jay's fucking phone. That particular Jay and her shitty ass phone that finally fucking died and rid us of her arrogance. Let's talk to Michael, who's calling in to say that spiritual beliefs still have a place in today's society. Michael, you're on the line with Forrest and only Forrest. Well, Jimmy is flipping his meat. How are you today?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Hello? Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I'm tempted to tell you that I'm a DNA-based male, but I don't think I want to.
Yeah. What are your pronouns, Michael?
Also, he and him is fine.
Excellent. Excellent. We'll get those on the screen right away. So, Michael, what did you want to talk about?
Well, first, I guess I want to ask a question, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So are you guys like dead set against all spiritual beliefs, or just the ones that hurt people? Or, I mean, do you see no value in spirituality? I'm just curious.
I'm not trying to dodge your question. The genuine answer that I would have here is that I would have to ask you what you mean by spirituality, because it is such a flimsy term that I hear it used to describe like when people are like devoutly religious and they have what they call a spiritual faith, spiritual experience, spiritual side of them. They use spirituality to describe religion, versus people who are like deconstructed, but they still have like this kind of like quasi-emotional relationship with the world, and they describe what I described to that other caller a little while ago. So I'm cool with like
your partner Jimmy describes himself as a secular humanist. You're an atheist, yes? Okay.
We both are atheists. Secular humanism is just a philosophy that we would, kind of adhere to, or one of them.
So neither one of you has any belief in anything outside of what you can basically define with your senses, or what is clearly defined by scientific principles, yes?
No, I would not say that's true. I would say, because there's a lot of things that science doesn't, like, there's a lot of things that we haven't discovered with science, and also, like, one of the foundational lessons in science is a warning against what we call naive realism, which is the belief that your senses, your perception of the universe, are valid and accurate and tell you everything you actually need to know. So I would say I don't believe in anything supernatural, and I'm willing to accept that there's things that I don't know yet, and there's other stuff that I haven't learned yet, but I will not believe those things are real without good evidence. So I'm not saying there is absolutely no such thing as a God or whatever like that. I'm saying I have no good reason to believe in that. And so I'm going to live my life as if that isn't the case, and that seems to be doing just fine.
Fair enough. Okay, so I would go as far as to say, when I define spirituality, I would say something along the lines of philosophical and moral paths that help people shape their lives, bring a sense of community, and help them in their day-to-day events. Now, whether they actually believe in the supernatural aspects of it or not, it's not for me to say. Some people believe in one thing, some people believe in another. I was raised by one Native American parent and one person who followed a European pagan tradition, so I have some spiritual beliefs that lean that way. Do I believe in the supernatural aspects of it at this stage of my life? 99% no, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say there wasn't 1% of me that's kind of, hey, we are the children of our parents, and the world's a big place. Who knows? I mean, like I said, I'm 99% atheist myself most days. But
that's fine.
That said, now, am I a proponent of the Abrahamic religions? Absolutely not. I spent 13 years in the military, and most of the problems I've seen in the world seem to be Abrahamic in origin, but that's personal beef.
Right.
But I think that there are traditional beliefs that are practiced around the world. Animism, Hinduism, which has its own problems, Shinto, Taoism, traditional African religions, you find things all over the world where there's a common denominator that people find these paths that bring them together and that they've held on to for thousands of years that help them in their day-to-day lives that seem to have value. And as long as they're not hurting anyone with them, it doesn't seem like it's the bad thing.
So this is one of the fundamental problems with like there is no actual definition of religion, right? It's not a really hard definable thing. And that's not unique to that. There's no definition of fucking life either. And so like, but I still study it for a living, right? And so when we talk about this stuff, it's really hard to pin down. But I think the way you framed it, if I remember it correctly, didn't seem too bad. Having sets of beliefs that help you in your day-to-day life, that kind of guide your behaviors. You're just talking about culture. You're just talking about like having heuristics. Like that's no real issue with that as how do you say? Fundamentally, like that's not inherently going to be a problem, right? You have to add baggage to that to make it a problem. That in its own is an amoral thing.
Are we all done with Jay?
What I would say, yeah, his fucking phone finally died. Praise Gilgamesh.
All right, give me a summary of Michael's thing.
Michael's we're talking about spirituality, and Michael has described spirituality, and I'm going to paraphrase here, so tell me if I'm doing this wrong. Just talking about like, if it is like just a set of beliefs and values and ideas and guidelines and heuristics and whatever that help people through their day-to-day life and are otherwise benign and don't come with like Abrahamic style major supernatural beliefs or dogmas or necessities.
I gave a talk on this. Remember?
Yeah, and so, well, I'm about to get into
that event you don't go to.
Yeah, I was about to get into saying when it comes to those cultural heuristics, the reason why I said there's no definition of religion is because you could be describing lots of things and not call it spiritual, and we could be talking about the same fucking thing, and we would both be right to call it spiritual or not spiritual. It's for me, it's when you add that faith-based aspect of adding in a belief in the supernatural or a belief in a higher power or a belief in some objective morality or some divine order or all these things. There is no benign faith in that way. There's worse faiths and better faiths, but there's no such thing as a harmless faith in those ways.
Well, any belief system has the ability to be profaned. I mean, so if we go back and we talk about, so Durkheim and sacred versus the profane, or we talk about Viber, we can get into all the things that religion
you're jumping past something.
For.
Michael, you're jumping past something that's not important. It doesn't matter whether there's a capability, that it has the potential. Faith is inherently harmful. It is harmful from the onset. Faith in a proposition and accepting that faith is an adequate foundation for belief is inherently harmful. And I can show you for a couple of ways. The first way is that it is a type of gullibility. And in fact, all of the versions of the harmless faith you are talking about exists within algorithms, marketing algorithms that target people with those types of faith because they know that those are the people they can sell some sort of tangential bullshit to. But here's the other issue. Hey, Michael, let's say progressive Christianity. Do you find it to be, or at least before this call, a rather harmless form of Christianity?
No, he specifically said he is against
Christianity
all
to be harmless
Abrahamic.
in any way, shape, or form.
Okay,
so
what is an example? What about
further,
astrology? Do you believe that there are people who have...
Look.
I don't need special things. Go ahead.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't find anything about the Abrahamic faith safe or soft, furry bunny, fuzzy bunny-ish. What I'm saying is that in more traditional settings, more traditional beliefs have served a purpose over time that are not harmful. So let's take a look at traditional Native beliefs, Native American beliefs. Those have been a cohesive belief system that have allowed those people to survive as a culture, an inherent belief system that they have shared over the face of this continent, tribe to tribe, band to band, that have allowed them to exist in a people in the face of incredible oppression.
Okay, Michael, you are listing a positive of religion, which is community, and not necessary to have religion to do. And then you have made just the blanket claim that they were harmless. And I reject that that is true. I reject that
I'm not saying they weren't harmless. I'm saying it is a part of their culture that has helped keep them alive. And
you can say the same.
Excuse me, Michael.
You can say the same thing about Christianity and Black Americans as well.
And you say it's like the caller we had earlier. What you know is that it assisted in the fact that they are alive. We can't speak to what their culture would have done if they hadn't had it, or what their culture would be like if they had instead of opted for a secular alternative. One of the great harms that almost all the religious traditions, including indigenous traditions, have is the thoughts about the extent, like life after death. And it creates a world in which people don't adequately value their life, but also doesn't allow people to grieve in a real way where they're actually grieving loss because they are essentially stuck in the denial phase that they've actually lost something. So when you're saying like it was a positive for it, it's more of they exist and that was a part of the history. So we're saying that's why they survived. However, again, we don't know what that world would have looked like without it. And it certainly wouldn't be an argument for today's society.
You're absolutely right. We
to
really
maintain
don't know
it in
what a lot
today's
of those
society
traditions would look like because Christianity steamrolled over so many of them in so many different ways.
Right, which is a great exciting leftist point we can all both make, but completely you just ignored the actual point I made and instead got your points on the thing we would agree on. I bet you can't actually repeat to me what my point was.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that faith, a belief, can have some value. You don't agree with it, and I understand that. You're an atheist, so why would you? I'm just saying that we can both exist in the same world simply because we see it in a different way.
Faith is inferior to non-faith is my proposition.
Can you give
so
me an
whether
example?
or not you can pull a positive, you can't pull out a single positive that can exist without religion and faith.
Of everything that you say.
My God, how am I meant? Michael, no, you don't, because you don't hear 99.9% of the things I say.
Really?
You keep talking over literally every time. You have not let me finish the shit I'm saying. So how can you say you agree with 99% when you're not hearing it? Oh, it's useful now. I've lost my train of thought. My God, Michael.
I apologize.
Michael, faith is inferior. Our proposition is faith is inferior to non-faith. And whatever value you have from the past, today with our modern understanding, you do not need religion to get that positive. And so if it is unnecessary to deliver those positives, it is unnecessary to continue to engage.
So can I ask you both of you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever, neither one of you has ever served in the military, I'm going to assume?
No.
Correct.
Have not and would not.
So have you ever
tried to?
Have you ever been in, so you've never been in combat, have either of you ever been in a life-threatening situation? I mean, seriously, like crazy life-threatening situation.
Probably more than most people you've ever known.
Why not?
I spent 13 years in the military, 10 of it in airborne infantry, and served in 2 wars.
Yep, and I had to spend a few years actively every day taking actions to stay alive because I was so sick. So yes, I have faced my mortality dead in the fucking eyes. That's actually happened twice in my life. Go ahead.
So you faced your own mortality. That's good. That wasn't the point that I was going to raise. The point I was going to raise is when other people die, those ceremonies that you have, they bring people together and they serve a purpose. Now, I'm going to tell you that I don't necessarily believe in anything that happens after I die, but the ceremonies themselves, the rituals, serve a purpose. They bring people together in community. Now, whether people believe in those things or not, I don't know.
Atheists still have funerals.
Now, whether people believe
you can have faith.
You notice how this didn't come back to whatever your combat point was, and then you said like, "Oh, that wasn't the point I was making anyway." It seems like that was the point, and you abandoned it.
No, I didn't abandon it. I was talking about the people that I lost in combat, not the combat that I was in.
You didn't ask us about. You asked us about the mortality, our own mortality that we faced. I wish you would ask me that. As a result of the things I went through in my life and the treatment and the people I was exposed to, I've also probably lost friends. I've probably lost more friends than almost anybody you know too. So that's kind of like, ask the actual questions that are relative. By the way, atheists still have funerals.
Amazing statement. I don't know how many friends you've lost, and I doubt you know how many I've lost, but I think that's an interesting statement to make. Look,
hey, Michael, I'm claiming that you're not listening to what I said, because did I say that I know more people who have died than you, or did I say than most people you know?
Most people.
And mine's in the dozens. So would you say most people you know have lost more friends than me, or less? not saying I was super close with all of them, but I met a lot of people
right.
going through treatment. Yeah, so no shit. Okay, so Michael, maybe before you contend, know what you're saying and actually listen to what I'm saying. So now, if you'd like to get to that actual point, I gotta go cut meat in a minute. So I'm popping in.
Meat.
I'm annoying Forrest with my little injections, and then I'm popping back off to do more meats.
I'll leave the meat comment hanging there. So look, I agree that religion is a massive weapon utilized on the masses. I agree with the fact that it has probably been one of the most terrible things in the world, and I agree that organized religion is, by its very nature, a horrible thing. I simply think that spirituality and that what people can use it for still has some value in a modern society, and not everybody's ready to make the leap that you guys make.
But you've yet to give us an example. The problem is, Michael, you have yet to give us an example of something that spirituality provides that you can't get without it. You brought up funerals, as Jimmy pointed out several times. Atheists have funerals. I think that funerals are for the living. They're not for the dead. They're for the living to come together and grieve and cope and have that community. And I've been to plenty of atheist funerals where we don't talk about God, like that's it, or spirituality, or the soul, or anything. It's just, man, I miss this person. Wish they were still here. Let's have some laughs remembering them and come together in that. And then we go on about our lives, and we have that closure now. From an anthropological perspective, ritual and all this stuff is something that happens across all cultures with varying conflicting religious and even non-spiritual traditions. And so, like, it's just not appropriate to say this is a benefit of spirituality that people aren't ready to lose, when it's not a benefit that they're going to lose. It's just losing the baggage.
Look, when I came back, and I went through PTSD and I went through all the stuff that I went through, yeah, there was a lot of science behind some of the things that did it, but one of the main things that helped me was going to sweat and going through the rituals to cleanse me and help me feel better. And the thing is that wasn't science, maybe that was psychology, but the thing is there was a spiritual component to it.
Because you made one there.
Personally.
It was a spiritual component.
Exactly. And I accept
hang on, Michael.
I'm not telling you.
Hang on. I have to make a point before I go cut my meats. Once again, you are describing ways that are and therefore this was good, while not knowing the alternative. And considering the way we know it is in countries that have a higher occurrence of secular people, therefore a higher adherence to things like science, their military, when they come home, their veterans don't get treated like they get treated in America. They don't have veteran homelessness problems, and they don't have veterans with PTSD getting so forgotten in the fucking ditch. So you're saying you came home, and in the face of your country not taking care of you, you took matters into your own hands, and something you correlate to spiritual things you do, you reckon that's what got you past. In the secular humanist world we're advocating for, the science would have led with it. You can go do whatever community shit you want also, but you would have been in a comprehensive scientific program, and whether or not you believe that would have worked for you, you cannot compare. You cannot know the data about the healthcare services in these countries that actually care about their veterans and how they are taken care of and how their outcomes are so much better, and say that world that is science before spirituality for their PTS veterans is inferior to the one that literally in America, hey, veterans, come home, and why don't you go pray and get God to take care of you? Because we sure the fuck am not going to.
Well, actually, I wouldn't disagree with that in any shape or form. I have no doubt places like Norway, the Netherlands, any of those places have much better systems of medical care than we do. England, any of those places. They have,
and don't you think that we would have been involved in fewer wars and the style of wars we would have gone to, Michael? Were you in Operation Iraqi Freedom? Is that the timeline we're working on here right now?
I was in 1990 to 2003.
Okay, yeah, even a little further back. That's when my dad, I think, was going to.
Yeah,
he's much older though. He's older. He's ancient. He's like Parkinson's age, and I don't mean that as an age. He just found out he had Parkinson's this year, and that makes me sad for me because it raises my chances of Parkinson's. He can fucking die shaking. I don't care. Anyway, so Michael, literally, if we lived in the society that we were advocating for, I don't think you would even disagree how we go to war, what wars we go in, would look completely different. And in fact, it is that religious, faith-based society that keeps sending us to wars that we don't even end up winning, Michael. Did we win your war?
Nobody wins wars. You should know that by now.
That's a cute
Good
non-answer.
No, but that's a good answer. And
It's a good answer. It's a good answer in the right context, but in the context of that question, it was not a good answer.
No, but I'm saying to his credit.
Let me follow up with that.
To his credit, is that earlier on, Michael specifically said, I'm sorry to cut you off, Michael, but what he specifically said earlier was that when he was in the military, he saw that a lot of the world's problems are caused by Abrahamic religions, which is a lot of what you're saying here. I think the disconnect here, where you guys are talking past each other a little bit, is that Michael is talking about these spiritual beliefs, not the kind of thing that you're hammering on. And I think that the major issue is that Michael is not seeing that there is no such thing as a benign faith, which is
I think that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm literally I think that's literally what I'm telling you is like the spiritual world that's always hanging on to the good things of religion are all those religions that you're talking about. Because Michael, for every one of you, the Christians call in who are like, well, I'm a progressive Christian. What's wrong with me? And they see you as on their team, not ours. Even as you say ideologically, we agree more. They consider you added to the numbers of, okay, look how many people have faith. Look how many people believe in God. Can this many people be wrong? And Michael, you're right now, for the worse. I like you more than that, but you're on the Muslim side right now, my guy. When it comes to foundationally, you're on the Christian side right now. Foundationally, it is okay to accept beliefs, especially if they make you feel good or get you through something hard, with a foundation of faith. And that's why it's harmful, because you are, like we were talking with the voter earlier, the culture of even in the safe states, not voting makes people in the not safe votes not vote. Even in the safe religions, believing in faith make people in the not safe religions feel further affirmed in their faith. That's the jam. I got to go cut my meat and then put it in the fridge before it's too late. So I have a bunch of cold sirloin nuggets tomorrow. Look, Lux, you don't have to keep doing that.
Yes, you do.
We don't do it on the other show. Like the other one's just showing the empty thing.
No, you do. Because
this
that's
is what I always do. Don't tell me what to do.
Don't
Jimmy's
do it.
over. I have
well, you
a
also
clip
know
from
it's not going to
Jimmy.
be as easy later when we change.
I've got a soundbite from Jimmy right here. Check this out.
My meat! My meat!
That is it. I was going more for Zuckerberg smoking his meats.
No, that's a clip from the banned video game Harvester, where Mr. Potsdam's freaking out about his meat.
So people know I can only eat like 5 foods. One of them is lean sirloin, so I make a bunch. I buy it in bulk, so it's like basically very close to the same price as chicken breast, which is one of the few other things. I buy it in bulk, I cook it in bulk, and I freeze or refrigerate it into these little nuggets, and that's pretty much
serial carnist Jimmy Snow. Michael, does this are we coming to an understanding here at least? Because I don't know if we're gonna completely agree, but like, are we at least on the same page with all this stuff?
I completely understand your points of view. I do. I'd like to circle back to the comment about war. The reason I said that nobody wins a war is, the simple fact is that, soldiers don't win wars. Soldiers buy time so somebody else can stop the war and maybe actually do something. Ideally, the war never starts in a perfect world. I mean, soldiers are just chips on a board. And soldiers
and they're always... They're the children of the poor people that the rich people say that they should go die. I get it. Yeah, I promise you, you and I are probably on the same page with this. I seriously, I wasn't joking. I think that was a great answer. It wasn't what Jimmy was going for.
This is the third little Middle Eastern adventure that I've seen in my lifetime. 2 of them I've been involved in personally. So yeah, I'm not really particularly pleased about what's happening, to say the least. Especially considering all the crazy faith-based shit that's going on around it. No,
dude.
Look, I think you can take the spiritual. Maybe I should just say you can take the spiritual side out of it. You can take the mysticism out of it. You can take the gods out of it, and simply have the cultural sets left. And I think that has value. So I can leave it at that. Like I said,
we agree.
And
we agree on that.
I mean,
the issue that both Jimmy and I have. The issue that Jimmy and I both have is when you put supernatural claims and dogmatic claims and like moral claims into these things, that's where we get major issues. But just having like, I'm never going to be mad that somebody has a culture. You know what I mean? That's not an issue.
Yeah. And I am not about dogmatic anything. I'm about individualism first and foremost. It's one of the biggest problems that I have with any type of monotheistic or organized religion, because even as a cultural perspective, that erodes individuality.
Yeah.
And doesn't allow a person to think for themselves. For instance, you can't have an honest discussion because you have to fall back on something that's been written or told to you, as opposed to actually having an honest discussion. I noticed earlier you were talking about Robin Wall Kimmerer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming to my college at the end of the month. I'm going to a dinner she'll be speaking at.
Well, hell yeah. Go see her. She's really cool, as far as I know. Maybe she's an asshole in some other way that I didn't know already, but like...
Oh, no. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to speaking to her afterwards, I hope.
Yeah, check out her book. Again, it's called Braiding Sweetgrass, and it was transformational for me when I was learning anthropology. That was my first foray into grad school was in anthropology, and I had a hard time with post-processual anthropology for a lot of the reasons we're talking about here, because we're talking about it got real into some woo-woo shit and like, what does it mean to be a person in these societies and what does it feel like? And the whole concept of phenomenology pissed me the fuck off, still does. But her book specifically really helped me build some bridges in understanding that kind of cultural anthropology, and also in building bridges for myself as well, like connecting my own, what you might call spiritualistic ideas with my scientific ones, and I think it made me a better scientist. So I think she's a really cool person, as far as I know. Like I said, I believe it was Malcolm Reynolds who said that everybody who ever had a statue built of them was some kind of son of a bitch or another. I feel the same way with everybody. Like, maybe she's got some shitty things, but as far as I know, she seems pretty cool, and I hope you enjoy seeing her.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to start grad school myself as a sociologist.
Good for you. That's awesome. I want to go back and do a bachelor's in sociology someday if I ever have enough free time. Anyway, with that, I've got to check on the last call because I've got sushi coming and Jimmy's over here talking about his meat.
Look,
I appreciate the call.
I really enjoy what you guys do, and I really enjoy the way that you do it. I think you guys are incredibly patient and damn amusing most of the time. So keep doing what you do. Thanks for taking me on.
I appreciate it. Take care, Michael.
Have a great night.
My meat! My meat!
You can hear Jimmy in the next room. If you listen closely, you can hear him. Let's talk to our last caller of the night is Jay, who wants to talk about souls. And hopefully you're not as crappy as the other Jay. Jay, you're on the line with Forrest and only Forrest. How you doing today?
Fine. This particular Jay is not going to be like that particular Jay, hopefully.
Hell yeah. This particular Jay. Hell yeah, man. All right. Yeah, so what do you want to talk about?
Basically the concept of the soul.
Okay. Yeah. And you think this is a real thing? You think souls exist?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you're calling in as a theist. Would you mind telling me what God you believe in?
I mostly just believe in the concept of theism generally, not specific God.
So nondescript higher power, but because you're saying theist, not deist, you do believe that this higher power is directly responsible for the state of the universe and has the power to intercede in the universe and responds to prayers and things like that. Like, am I getting anything wrong here?
I'm sort of agnostic in that respect.
Okay, would you say you're more of a deist, that this God just started the universe up but doesn't involve itself with the universe? Or do you think that this God is involved with the universe and does care about what's going on in the universe?
Well, it could be involved in the universe, but not necessarily. But it definitely not as a single consciousness.
Do you believe in a heaven or a hell?
Maybe there's an afterlife. I can't really speak to that.
Okay, so we're ambiguous to afterlife. We're agnostic about afterlife, agnostic about whether or not this God cares at all about what's going on in the universe around us. So I just want to make sure I'm not talking past you, because I don't want to sit here and start talking about souls being judged and all these things if it's not what you believe in. So just to be clear, because Jimmy also just got back here, is that you are agnostic, more or less. You do believe that there is a God. You don't know if there's an afterlife. You don't know if this God cares about what's going on in our universe or intercedes in our universe or answers prayers, anything like that. What you believe in is that there is some higher power, and also we have souls. That's all we've got so far, right?
And how old are you?
Yes. 20.
What religion were you raised in?
I wasn't raised in any religion necessarily.
Where do your spiritual beliefs come from?
I basically just developed them on my own by thinking about it a bit. I mean, my mom was sort of spiritual, or is.
Have you ever been in a state of more theism? Like Christianity, like Islam, Mormonism? Or is this your maximum amount? Okay.
Yeah, this is.
Okay. So you believe in God and you believe there's a soul, but you don't know much more than that.
Yes.
Okay. Why do you believe there's a soul?
Well, it's kind of difficult to explain since we don't have words for the exact things that I believe in. But if there were no souls and everything was just purely material, you would not be experiencing this conversation right now or anything.
How do you know that?
Experience seems to be a quality of consciousness, so why is a soul necessary?
Okay, well...
what you just said is as meaningful as me saying if you had a soul, you would not be able to enjoy this conversation. It just doesn't...
Yeah, I mean, we have conversations with things that don't have souls more than ever. We have conversations with LLMs, and they, to some degree, think they are no longer what people think about as just pattern predictions. But we are much more complex flesh computers.
That is not what I said. I said you would not be experiencing this conversation.
Why?
Some conversation would still be happening.
I said experience is a quality of consciousness. The fact that, like, we consider that we've had an experience because, one, the acts can happen, and two, we can remember it spontaneously or at will, as much as there is will. So what does that mean that we can't experience without a soul?
Well, you would be able to still, think and even, like, sort of reflect on yourself and be conscious. Okay.
So what can't we do without a soul that is part of the experience that we are having?
It wouldn't actually affect you physically. You would still act like a person and have conversations and think about things. I don't know why we're...
Jay, let me change the question so it's more obvious. You and I can agree we are experiencing this conversation, correct?
I at least know that I am.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So, if a soul doesn't exist, what about this conversation that you and I are having couldn't be happening?
It would still be happening, mechanically.
That's not what I asked.
I'm sorry.
That's not what I'm asking.
Let me make it even simpler. Even simpler, Jay. You have a soul. Jimmy does not. You are having this conversation right now. What is different about his experience versus yours?
Well, he is not having an experience necessarily.
What does that mean?
What is an experience? Define experience. Define what an experience is.
Well, it is not what the body is doing, but the sort of feeling of actually being inside of there. There isn't like an actual reason for you to exist. There is just I mean, physically,
I
yes,
agree.
you
I
would
don't.
exist.
I don't exist for some greater reason. I exist because my parents fucked.
No, I'm not talking about your body.
Okay. So a sense of self, the soul. Is it soul we need you to define? Because you haven't given us a meaningful definition of experience. Experience is essentially what? Knowledge of awareness. Would that be the actual like definition? Do you know, Forrest?
Not off the top of my head, I'm
Knowledge of
sorry.
awareness is just consciousness, isn't it?
Experience and consciousness are quite intertwined. Generally, when we say experience, we're describing like a limited period. It's basically just consciousness plus time. The experience I had yesterday is my consciousness yesterday and recalling yesterday. Yesterday's experience was a limitation on the amount of time we are observing consciousness. So this is why I'm bringing this up to you, because you seem to have this idea of experience. I know, people, stop trying to get ahead of it. I already know he's making appeals to solipsism. I already know there was somebody else who had
I just Googled it. Like, I've got experience, noun, practical contact with and observation of facts or events. What part of that can we not do without a soul?
Well, you could do everything. You can have experiences if you use that definition.
Okay, then we are just I'm gonna ask you one last time. My sushi just got here, and I'm gonna go spend time with my wife. So I'm gonna ask you one more time. If you are in this conversation with me, you have a soul, I do not have a soul. What is the one thing that I am not getting out of this conversation? What is happening that is different for me and you? You have a soul, I don't. What's the difference?
Well, okay, physically there is no difference, but you are
non-physically. What's the
sort
difference? What's happening outside of the brain? You said physically there's no difference. So non-physically, what's the difference? And if you're saying non-physically, it can't be an appeal to feelings, can't be an appeal even to like, I feel like even qualia, the people who try to do the qualia thing, you have to make it something outside of the brain. What is happening non-physically?
What is the thing? What's the difference?
all right.
I'd like to propose I know what the answer is.
I'm about to fucking go get this sushi.
All right, what's the answer?
Bring it and eat. Oh, you're not going to like it, Jay. It's not an answer that fits your worldview. I believe, Jay, that because you find your existence exceptional, therefore existence must be exceptional.
Yep.
No.
I believe that you have a sense of like, I feel like I fit into this whole world and this universe, and that like my ability to observe and stuff, it just can't be for nothing. And therefore, because it's uncomfortable, the reality that we live in. And by the way, you don't have to do any of the spiritual stuff to get this sense of like, oh, fuck, this sucks. If you can just really spend a day trying to begin to perceive the size of the universe, you will go, fucking Christ, I am nothing. I am nothing and nobody, and none of this is fucking anything. Therefore, whatever I find is something is what actually is something. And that's what I think all of this falls down to, is that you believe your existence is exceptional. You are human. You accept that other people are probably human and that you aren't a brain in a vat because it would feel poopy for you to accept otherwise. However, if life isn't exceptional as you experience it, you actually then want to begin questioning whether other people even exist. I think that's the true answer. And that's why you can't put anything into words, because you essentially have a vibe. Just get your sushi. I was eating meats with you on.
Yeah,
we can meet with each other.
I want to spend time with my wife, not Jay.
I know. You're doing the show with me next Sunday, right? Calling it now beforehand? Because Javon's gone?
I don't think I agreed to that.
Oh, yeah, you did, remember?
It's news to me if I have.
I'm gaslighting you a little, but will you?
Maybe. Is it on the schedule right now?
Is what on the schedule? It's next week at 4.
Well, you just said.
No, I haven't put anybody in there.
God.
Sorry, Jay. Are we using you as a prop a little bit? I'm trying to give you time to think about it. Yeah.
I might be able to. Let me get back to you on that. It's kind of a rough day for me, and then I'm also.
You want to fight some fascists.
I mean, yeah, I do. But then I have fucking endocrinology first thing in the morning the next day, and I have to drive fucking an hour and a half to go do it. And so I'm just
It's tired. Before the Sunday show after dark. You're still going to be tired either way.
Well, yeah, but that's just more work during the day. And like, that could be time that I could be spending writing. And that's kind of the issue.
Or eating sushi with your wife.
Or eating sushi with my wife.
Yeah.
Or fucking doing literally, I could punch myself in the fucking neck.
Can I do the show with your wife?
I've learned from this conversation with Jay. I don't think she wants to.
Come on, do it.
I will have. Maybe she wants to.
If she wants to, I would love. It would be so funny if she came on my channel before yours.
She's been on my channel a bunch. She's just a voice. She's just doing it on camera. But no, she would be a phenomenal atheist debater. She's fucking smart as shit, and she's really funny.
She's great.
Anyway,
right,
Jay,
did you think of your response?
We bullshitted for a long time. Can you please tell me what is the difference? You and I are having a conversation. I don't have a soul. You do have a soul. What is the difference?
Or was my answer the true answer, and you're realizing it is probably the correct answer, and you have some thinking to do?
Which one is it?
Well, I was thinking about your answer a bunch, and I don't actually believe that I am special. I said the only thing I could know for sure is that I exist. But I think the soul
and that is special.
Most likely.
I said exceptional, by the way.
Everywhere and in everything, even like inanimate objects and animals.
Yeah, I think you're changing my use of it. I know I'm not special. I know I'm tiny. I know in the blip of the universe, I don't matter. I am as incidental as a rock. And yet I consider myself quite exceptional. But I don't turn that exceptionalism into anything related to a metaphysical existence or anything. So, Jay, either answer Forrest's question or like admit you don't actually. It's a vibe, man. It's a vibe that you feel like there must be a soul. Otherwise, what's the point, guy? Dave's not here, man.
It doesn't.
That's what it sounds like a lot.
It doesn't have any connection to me feeling special.
Exceptional and special. I mean,
I don't
what
really
these words
feel
mean
any
are
more special in the greater scheme of the universe than you do.
Can you just answer my question? Because I agree with that. I also don't believe in any kind of meaning. I am also a nihilist in that way. I'm asking you, what is the difference between this conversation for you and me? I don't have a soul and you do have a soul. If you can't just tell me what the fuck the difference is, then I have no reason to care about this soul, and also I still don't think it exists anyway.
That's the thing. It doesn't make a material difference. So it's kind of hard to just say
I didn't ask about a material difference. I said the difference. Any difference. What is the difference for me, from my subjective experience, in any capacity at all, between me and you? I don't have a soul and you do. What is any difference?
All right, let me reframe this. If you don't have a soul, if you believe you don't have a soul, why are you like there in the body and it's not just functioning autonomously?
My brain's in my body. And my brain has developed the ability to observe, to see, to do all these, to process things.
Sorry, hold on. So your argument is that my consciousness and my self-awareness is unexplainable to you, and therefore there must be some magical component? Is that what we're talking about now?
No, it's not self-awareness. That is entirely possible with fully just consciousness.
What happens to your soul when you die?
Self-awareness.
Yeah, literally, dude, if you can give me...
There's a bunch of nothing. What happens to your soul?
If you can give me any example of a mind and all the things you're talking about existing independent of matter, I will then start talking about your soul and taking it seriously. As for now, however, just saying I don't know how this thing... Just you saying, I don't know how this would have existed or how this could happen, therefore there must be some fucking magic orb in your brain that gives you the ability to think about yourself or whatever the fuck, doesn't do dick for me. So If all you have is questions and saying, how would you be sitting there and thinking about yourself, all this stuff, that's not a fucking actual argument. That's just you saying you don't know how something works. And surprise, there's lots of things we don't know. Ignorance is not evidence. Show
Forrest
me that
really
the soul
wants
actually
to go
exists.
Eat sushi. Forrest, if anyone
really
wants to just go eat sushi, just go. I'll handle the last call. It won't bug me.
Do you?
Because
no,
I have
the last call. This is all we have.
No, I'll finish it up if it's holding you too long. I have questions still. I find it silly, this line of questioning. And so I want to know, to Jay, the soul that you believe exists, does it die with your body?
It could.
What do you mean it could?
I can't really speak to that.
Okay.
He's agnostic to
so
everything.
What can you
easier
speak
than having
to?
an opinion.
Well, I know that there is a soul.
No, you believe there is a soul.
Yes, if there weren't, the brain would still continue functioning as it does, as part of, because it is a physical thing that exists in the body. But
yes.
You wouldn't still be in there.
How do you know that?
Actually having the experiences.
How do you know that?
Well, because I am in here having the experiences.
No. How do you know? I'm sorry. That's not what I said.
Superfluous.
Jay. Because what you're describing is essentially your inner monologue. That's who our sense of self comes from. You have an inner monologue.
No,
it thinks, it evaluates.
Monologue.
Okay, Jay, you're very special, but you're not special at all. But you're representing the soul. So Jay,
what tests have you run on this, Jay? What people have you removed their soul and found that they were not in there anymore?
He really wants to go, but he keeps pushing off my line of questioning until after his, which means I'm going to resume it in a couple minutes when he's done. Your sushi is going to be, I hope it's cold sushi, because I'm still doing my questions. I gave you an out, but I love you.
Well, I feel bad just leaving in the middle of a show. Even at the very end.
I'm just saying they're going to blame me, not you. That's what the audience always does. They love you. They hate me.
Anyway.
So you're saying I want to go. I'm going to get shit on in the comments. But then the reason you haven't gone is you.
Well, no, I feel bad walking away at the end. At the very end of the show.
You're losing more lights.
I know it's this one in the middle that I just replaced today, and they just keep pulling down.
Oh, okay. I'd say that one just swung down.
This whole one goes across here, and I just replaced it today. This sucks.
Jay, how do you know you wouldn't experience self if there was no soul?
Because there is no reason or mechanism for it to happen mechanically.
What if it doesn't need a reason or mechanism?
What the fuck does reason mean? You're just saying things without any actual science.
Where does the sense of self occur? How does the when you say a sense of self, sorry, not where does it occur? How does the sense of self manifest? What is the self? What is the sense of self that is separate from the internal monologue?
It's not the sense of self that I'm talking about. The sense of self is entirely part of the brain.
Okay, then where is the soul that doesn't exist? How does the soul that is not the sense of self manifest? Which part of my experience is the soul? Would Forrest or Jimmy win in a fight? The chronically ill guy, we're the same height. The chronically ill guy versus, I hate bringing this up because I resent him for it. Forrest has hot arms that look capable. I'm crazier though, so I will do things he would hold back, I think, in a lot of ways, and he would think oh, it's funny. Yeah, that's true. We both have disadvantages. I've been in many more fights than Forrest. I'm giving you time once again, Jay, to think this through. There's no way. I was raised with 4 older brothers. How could it possibly be true?
Do you hear her being a beautiful lady? I'm gonna
tell
go away.
her I said you should leave and go eat sushi.
Yeah, this conversation is not worth missing time with my wife. Goodbye, Jay. I hope you learn how to defend the thing that you fucking believe in someday. Bye.
Forrest is leaving, but I'm saying, don't worry. Okay, Jay, I am experiencing. You're saying if I'm experiencing like you, I have a soul. You don't know that I'm experiencing like you, but there's no point in us engaging this without the presupposition that we both exist and are both experiencing. It would be pointless otherwise. So let's just assume you and I are both having experience. You are saying there is a part of that experience that is the soul that does not exist unless there is a soul. So tell me where that experience is, because I suspect if you don't, you are merely using it you believe you have some sense of, and this is why I think you are basically just full of yourself. You think there's something else, and if I can't report that I know that that's there too, you think that will be confirmation that you alone exist in the universe and confirmation of your dumb solipsism. So Jay.
No, I'm trying to convince you. I honestly think that you just can't understand exactly what I'm trying to say.
You haven't said it.
I do not want to be alone in the universe. That would be awful.
And yet you haven't, I can't understand what you haven't said. Everything you say either comes back to sounding like just this sort of feeling of I exist or the inner monologue. So where in my experience, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking there are words in my head. I'm thinking about what I might say next. I keep thinking about the fart sound that Forrest keeps saying. I can pretty much audit to you out the fullness of my experience, the sensation in my stomach and on my right knee right now. I can feel that my hips don't like that I've been sat in this chair all day. Simultaneously, I keep thinking about my girlfriend because I think she's playing guitar in the other room. What about the experience that I'm having in my current state, sat here as I am, is the soul part?
Okay, well, your brain is responding to all of those stimuli and then processing them and creating all of your thoughts. I don't think thoughts are happening in the soul. That's entirely physical.
I don't need more of what's not happening in the soul. I need specifically what is in the soul.
It is you that is just like sitting back there and experiencing everything that is.
So are you describing like what Sam Harris is? The sensation that we exist in the basically the physical location of where our brain is?
No.
Then you're not saying anything. The idea that I'm in here, what other choice does my brain have if it is simultaneously processing so much stuff? If as a physical thing, things are having significance to me, I am evaluating those things, I am generating thoughts, I am generating words. What other choice would my body have but a sense that I, Jimmy, as opposed to you, Jay, are the one who currently is realizing the way his legs are crossed makes his right testicle a little bit uncomfortable? What other option do I have?
You don't have any other option, and that is all happening mechanically, and it still has nothing to do with soul.
You haven't given me a single thing that is the soul. You said it's like the sense that it's you doing that, and I just asked you what choice I have other than it being the sense. Then what did you say?
It is...
Are you a troll? I'm just realizing I should have asked. Is all of this to see how long you can be on and not actually say anything? Did I fall for something? Is this a prank?
No, I'm definitely trying to say something.
Okay, say it clearly.
I believe that your brain, your physical brain that has all of your thoughts, which includes everything, including consciousness and internal monologue and whatever else, exists
sense
physically,
of self,
and that separately sitting back and experiencing that is a soul.
And I don't, because anything that I could say is sitting back experiencing is literally the expression of that inner monologue.
No.
Yes.
Well, yeah, okay.
Right.
But that's still a part of the brain.
Correct. Everything you're describing is a part of the brain. It's also why there's nothing that alerts our brain, the separate soul, when experiences we don't realize are happening. This thing that you're describing as the soul, it's strange that soul that's sitting back but somehow in communication with us is also not aware of somebody walking behind us unless one of our senses alerts us to it. or sight with a shadow or hearing or something else. Jake,
only experience
how
what
high
your brain
are
is
you
experiencing.
tonight?
What?
How high are you tonight?
I'm not high at all.
Just so pretty high? This is such
No.
bong hit theology, dude. This is deep using the bubbler hit. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. There's a thing in your brain doing that. And there's a thing with your brain doing the inner monologue and stuff. But then a step behind that, a thing that isn't thinking, it's just there experiencing. How do you know it's there? Do you sense that it's there?
Okay, I have no idea how I'm aware of it.
How do you sense it? With your vibes?
I don't know how my brain is responding to it. I don't know how that process works.
What if your brain isn't responding to it? What if your brain is just your brain and there isn't something separate from your brain that is part of your experience? How would you prove whether that is the case, or would prove that there is something separate from your brain participating in your existence?
I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say.
I don't think you understand what you're trying to say.
Oh, I definitely understand what I'm trying to say.
No, you don't.
Maybe I'm not good at expressing
Everything
it.
I understand, I can articulate. How many things do you have a clear understanding that you can't articulate?
Is a specific skill.
You can't articulate? You've been sitting here for how long and you can't articulate what you mean? How much time will you need? Days, weeks, months?
I thought I did a pretty good job, but you're clearly not getting it.
You haven't done a good job because you've not described a single thing that can't be occurring in the brain, except to just say, no, but it's behind the brain or separate from the brain. But you haven't actually established what it does, how we sense it. And you're saying, I don't understand. I asked you how you detected it. And you said, I don't know how I detect it, which goes back to my original point. It's a vibe you have. You desperately need to have a soul in some sort of personal ideology. And so you observe all these things that are happening in your brain, and you're just putting them in a little soul compartment, not realizing it's all in your brain.
No, I haven't. I have specifically mentioned every brain process that you were talking about and said.
And you have not yet mentioned the single brain process. You haven't mentioned a single thing the soul does that the brain doesn't.
It does nothing.
Then how do you detect it? How do you prove it exists?
Well, all I know is that my brain somehow can detect it. And
no, you don't. You don't know that. You believe that. Knowledge is demonstrable. Knowledge is the interception of facts and belief. You would be able to share the facts and the support for those facts if they were knowledge. You believe you are experiencing more.
No, I actually do know it for a fact.
No, you don't. Knowledge is demonstrable.
It right now.
No, you aren't. You believe you're observing it right now. You are delusional. Does a delusional person believe they experience belief or knowledge?
They believe they're experiencing knowledge.
So if you're delusional, how do you know that you're actually experiencing it? How do you know it's knowledge and not belief, considering I've already pointed out that if it was knowledge, the interception of facts and belief, you would be able to demonstrate those facts.
How can you explain in the physical world something that exists outside of it? I can't.
That's why I don't believe in any of it. That's why I don't believe in any of it, because I have no reason. I have no reason to believe the non-physical world, supernatural world exists.
You cannot describe the non-physical world with words, because words exist in the physical world.
You are delusional. And the things that you are describing are the things that the way you are talking have been described by people who are merely delusional in their religious beliefs and all the way up delusional into things like schizophrenia. I'm hoping you're more on the religious belief side. Just in case, let me just go out and say, go get a psychiatric evaluation, because if it is truly mental illness delusion, I can't do anything about it, and yelling at you is probably not helping, but maybe it'll get you to a doctor. You have shared nothing of significance. All I've asked you is, how do you know it exists, and how do you prove it? And you're sitting there and you're saying, you know. But you also said that it's a matter of you know that you exist. Well, guess what? I know I exist. It's perhaps the only thing I can know, as if we get all solipsistic. And I know I don't have this knowledge that you're claiming. I know that in my brain, I'm not experiencing the knowledge of the soul, and you seem to think the knowledge of a soul is merely a quality of existing, and that if you have it, you will know it because it will be there. And I have no such experience. So where your delusion is coming from, an overstated sense of self and exceptionalism, or actual mental illness, we've essentially just wasted I don't know how many minutes for you to say nothing and your complaint be that I'm not getting what you're saying and I can't prove something that doesn't physically exist. By the way, the things that don't physically exist and the things that exist outside the physical of the world are the same thing. If it doesn't physically exist, it doesn't exist. Otherwise, what is the quality of something? Then nothing doesn't exist. Because you could never prove anything doesn't exist. Literally anything.
You're observing it not right now, even though you are not aware of what it is or have the. I personally believe that anyway.
No, I'm not.
Well, I guess solipsism is true then. Fuck.
That's a super dumb conclusion.
No, that was a joke, by the way. I still believe that you are observing it, and I'm not the only.
But you say it's a joke. You say it's a joke, but it's literally what I called earlier. Because you actually do in your head think that if I am not actually, if you could prove that I'm not experiencing a soul, you would essentially go with, well, that's the solipsism then. I'm there. It's literally what I called earlier. Dude.
Well, no,
you have nothing here, and you've said nothing. You've made assertions of nothing, but you're positive of the nothing you believe in, and literally sat behind, I can't prove things that don't exist, though you called it physically exist. I have a crickets thing on my board. That ain't it. All right,
we have been going in circles for a while.
Cool.
We have been going in circles for a while. I don't think I can.
And I assume I'm on with Forrest next Sunday over on Jimmy Snow in the Line, our other channel. So why don't you take the whole week with a notepad and figure out how to articulate what you're saying we, or at the very least, I don't understand.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Jay. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Anybody live that we should be rating right now over in the shorts feed? Is Justin live? Bum, 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 bum. I want to make sure. I do like giving it to him. Heyo! When he's live. Who's live, guys? Y'all know? Anybody know who else is up right now? Is Mezzo live? Let's see if they're... No, Mezzo's not live. Damn, I'm just sitting here, a boy trying to raid apparently another boy or a girl. I wish there was more late night atheist ladies taking the calls. We could use that. That would be good. That would be good for our community. I don't know if Justin was live today. I don't keep track of other people's personal channel schedule. Well, nobody's saying they know of anyone who's live. Joel is alive. What is Joel's channel's name? It's not Jezzo, right? Mezzo and Joel. And then Joel is, okay, Joel reads Bible. Now, Joel reads Bible is not live. I'd have rated him. I would have rated him so hard. I hear it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Who the fuck's live, guys? I'm sure Lux wish I would stop giving a fuck and just let
Sure would.
everybody go. I don't know. It just feels like such a waste of a captive audience who probably wants a little bit of guidance. But the only people I see live in my little feed over here, I am not willing to send people to. Also, it's a repeat feed anyway, so who would care? Let's see. People. Oh, yeah. Well, let's send it. Let's send you all to like a right-wing pod. Just kidding. Ugh, gross. Whatever, podcast is gross. All right, well, there ain't shit. So let's do the thing. Bow. There's a Forrest frozen face again. Did we update this? Did we remember to do that?
No, I keep asking you for the list.
God damn, my bad. I think I generated it and I must have not sent it. We'll get this updated. I'm literally like starting to work on it now. So for future shows,
Go to patreon.com/calltheline.
Patreon.com/calltheline, and then all the other stuff that we prefer you do. All of it. Do it all. And for real though, we could use you at patreon.com/calltheline. We have big plans, including a big new type of show that I'm going to talk to Lux about after this. It's going to be the shit, guys. It's literally the best thing I've ever come up with by a lot. If you like the line, you like Jimmy Snow on the line, you're going to be like, Jesus Christ, Jimmy still had some cooking left to do. It's going to be the fucking shit, guys. Okay, well, I knew about raids, Rachel. How dare you? Rachel, you don't watch Jimmy Snow on the line, do you? Though I don't know how to do like I just know how to set up redirect. Rachel, you need to watch Jimmy Snow on the line, as do all of you. Go over there and subscribe. It's where the political versions of these shows are happening. Oh yeah, I have to call Javon too. Okay. All right, bye everybody.